Listen, I tell you what I've come across. This is interesting. I'm thinking of becoming a druid.
What?
Now, the reason the druids...
I thought you were a Christian.
I'm a Christian.
Well, you can't be a Christian and a druid.
Yeah, druids are Christians.
Druids are not Christians.
What are druids are?
Moonlit musings for sportsmad vampires, factory shift workers,
Never mind hello, Chuck.
And men with prostate trouble. Morning, Andy.
What are you doing? Make sure you stay awake for the radio show that never sucks. The Nosferatu Mics on Talk Sport.
Look at the light!
Well, all the pictures we've ever had from the moon are dark. Most of the moon is the dark side of the moon.
No, that's the dark side.
No, that's
the opposite side of the light side.
No, it's not. There's no light side of the moon.
What, so all of it's the dark side?
Well, you show me a
Why
picture.
Why is it called a side, then?
You show me a picture from
Why
all...
is it just called the dark moon?
Yeah, look, I happen to have a picture here of Mr. Kernan, the last man on the moon. It's
look,
dark.
He's standing in the light.
No, it's dark.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. It's time to say a very, very good morning to Mr. Mike, a Porky, a Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
A very good morning to you, Mike. And talking about Mike,
yes.
OK, there's you're a Mike,
yeah.
I'm a Mike.
Yes.
Who's the other Michael who is doing very well this evening?
Are you thinking of Michael O'Neill? Because
I certainly am.
Some kind of bizarre tweet that you put out earlier on tonight.
What do you mean?
Which had some letters
What do you
missing.
mean? What
In
do you
fact,
mean?
I just answered it and said, what kind of gobbledygook is this?
Well, go on, read it out. Let our millions of listeners know how I'm thinking, how my thought pattern goes.
Well,
it's a tale of two Michaels.
Well,
no,
it is
it's
a
not.
tale.
It's a tale of two O'Neills.
Well, I don't know what it is. This is what you say.
Yes.
What's the difference between an Eichel and an Artin?
Yes.
Almost certainly its qualification to the last 16 of the Euros.
Yeah, well, anybody could work that out.
Well, why even put it out?
What is the difference between an Eichel,
Yeah.
put an M in front
And
of
an
that,
Artin?
you've got Michael,
Right.
O'Neill,
Yeah.
and an Artin, put an M in front of that, and you've got a Martin,
Shouldn't you have just
O'Neill.
said, what's the difference between a Michael and a Martin?
No.
Why?
No, because the M is constant to both names.
Yeah, so you might as well have left it in.
No. So
Doesn't make
it's,
any sense.
No, it does. It makes great sense to me. It's so
Well,
close.
it might make sense to you.
No. It's so close. They're both called O'Neill, both
Yeah.
spelt O apostrophe
Well, surely the joke should have been...
capital N-E-I-double-L at the end, right?
Well, surely you should have said... It would have been better if you'd said, what's the difference between an O'Neill and an O'Neill? Wouldn't it?
That's a stupid joke. That's
Why?
not a joke, because that's
Well, 'cause
not
then it's
asking
the
to
same
do
name.
anything. No, you idiot.
Well, there's a lot of difference between Michael and Martin. They're two different names. They've got lots of different letters in them. They use different vowels and different consonants. You know, there's any number of differences.
Okay, well, I'm prepared to let our audience make judgment. Answer this question, please, if you would, through a tweet or a Twitter or something. Don't you think it was incredibly funny for me to send out a tweet saying, what is the difference between an Eichel and an Artin? The answer is that one is Michael O'Neill, the other one is Martin O'Neill, and only one of them looks like they're progressing in the Euro competition.
You might have said, what's the difference between a winner and a loser?
Well, no, that was far too easy. Don't you understand how sophisticated our audience are? Do you know what your problem is?
What's my problem?
Your problem
I've
is...
got many problems.
Your problem
Most of them
is...
stem from working with you.
I once did a quiz, because we've got to decide on the quiz in tonight's show.
Yes.
I once did a quiz on John Wayne, right?
You did, yeah.
And
I think you got 3 out of 10.
And I got more than that. And one of the questions I thought you might ask me would be, what's John Wayne's most famous quote?
Yeah.
And I'll give it to you now anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was?
What was it?
Life's tough, but it's tougher when you're very stupid. And
That's very good.
And it strikes me that you fall into the second category, mate.
You're
Okay?
calling me stupid, are you?
Well, I mean, you are acting stupidly at the moment.
I don't think so.
Do you know what it is?
What is it?
You resent some of my jokes because they're so sophisticated.
No, I don't actually think they're sophisticated at all.
I think it's very
You have
sophisticated.
the subtlety. You have all the subtlety of an 18-wheeler truck.
I think it's very sophisticated. Anyway, listen, getting to the
Because
core
you
issue.
didn't even get my point about winners and losers, which was obviously a segue into the winners and losers competition that we've had going overnight, the voting for which ended approximately just over an hour ago.
Yeah, but I mean, you gerrymandered it from the start.
Not at all.
Yes, you did.
No.
Yes, you
People
did.
have been saying all day, has Porky lost the plot altogether?
Why?
These are possibly his worst choices ever. Why on earth has he chosen Cliff Richard the week after he chose the Queen? Absolutely unbelievable. People can't believe it. They think you've actually genuinely gone a bit mad.
I get myself a crying, walking, sleeping, talking.
Anyway,
living
just to get it out of the way, because we dragged it out for about an hour last year.
Yeah.
Last week, I should say.
Yes.
And it was 57, basically 43 to me.
Right, that's the score.
That was the score.
Gerrymandered, that is.
Not at all.
You've turned the audience against me in a wicked and brutal way.
No, I've not.
And I resent it.
You have constantly sought to try and sort of butter people up.
Yeah.
And I'm beginning to believe some of the people who have made this accusation that even the champagne gift on Sunday was an early kind of winners and losers buttering up scenario.
It wasn't at
so
all.
that people would think you were actually a nice guy.
Well, hang on. I could have this morning gone home after the initial score showed something ridiculous like 71-29.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And I could
Not
have
that you were
said,
checking it, really.
and I could have said, in no way do I want you all to reflect on the kindness and generosity I showed to Mike Graham over the weekend with the bottle of champagne.
You could have said that.
However, think carefully about who you vote for in winners and losers. I could have done that, and a less honourable man than me would have done that.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Do you know why?
What?
I take life on the chin.
Do you?
Okay?
Right, is that why you sent out 2 tweets very close together this afternoon, about 8 hours ago? Don't forget, folks, lots of time to vote for me in winners and losers.
Yes.
I need your support because the paella muncher is a gerrymanderer.
That's right. You're the paella muncher.
Well, I'm the paella creator. Do you know what people have asked me to do?
What?
And I'm very honoured by this.
What's that?
My Twitter followers have said what they'd like me to do is actually a weekly a dish of the week. So I'm going to do a dish of the week on Twitter, right? And it's going to include all the various stages of the production. So do you remember when I made the meatballs the other week?
Yes.
And I showed everybody how they should do it.
Yes.
From about 5 different.
You're going to
pictures.
put this out in words on Twitter?
I'm going to do it in pictures and words on
Really?
Twitter. I'm going to do it once a week.
That's okay. When can we expect this? This delicacy of the cuisine kitchen or whatever. Culinary delicacy.
Cuisine. Well, I mean, they've demanded it basically. And
you'll be doing this every Sunday afternoon now, will you?
Well, no, not necessarily. I might do it sometimes at the weekends. Might do it sometimes during the week.
No. I'm sorry. If you're going to make this service available to our listeners, it's got to be a regular feature on the same day. I insist.
Well, I
insist. I'm not having my show knocked about.
Your show?
Excuse me.
Where'd you get that from?
Knocked about and pulled left, right, and centre. Okay. Can we just get that straight?
I think that they will be more than happy for me to do whatever. It's whenever I'm making it. There's no point in me making paella if there's not a load of people to eat it.
No. I think it should be. Well,
it won't be. I can't guarantee to do it every Sunday because I'm not always available.
I think it should be MG's cookery book, and it should be a regular feature.
Yeah, but it won't be in the show. It will be on Twitter. That's what I'm saying.
We should do it on Friday then, shouldn't we?
But we can
do it on Friday.
I'll do it when I'm cooking. Thank you very much. I'm not going to be dictated to by you.
You're going to do it. Do you know when you're going to do it?
Mr. Tin Man.
You're going to do it.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it when I want to do it. That's what I'm going to do.
You're going to do it when you're not in mass bladderation and can't read the instructions in your cookery book because you've just put your 4th bottle of cooking wine down your throat in the middle of your WRRW campaign. White, red, rosé, whiskey, bladderation, oblivion, pass out, death. That's what's going to get to you eventually,
well,
pal.
Hopefully I won't die before I send out the final picture. But,
do you think anybody cares?
Well, but they do care. I mean, you're just jealous now because somebody actually asked me to do something which is outside of your remit.
Utter rubbish.
And you have no control over it. What I was going to suggest before you became so objectionable about it was that, what you maybe want to think about is that having followed my cookery instructions, you should try and cook it. The same thing.
Get lost.
Why not?
I wouldn't eat the sort of drivel or the sort of dross that you cook.
You can have a request. You can say to me, can you please show me how to make blah, whatever, and I'll show you.
Nothing you can make, I would eat anyway. I know how to make the foods I want to eat.
Well, what do you know how to make? You know how to make one thing.
I know how to make spaghetti bolognese, yeah. So what's wrong with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It's good, I'm very happy
I know
for
to
you.
cook a roast joint of fillet beef costing £30.
Fillet beef.
Because I will not eat any inferior meat, okay?
Yes.
So that's... I know how to do
roast
that.
Joint of fillet beef.
I know how
Where'd you
to
get
cook
that
a
from?
roast chicken.
The fillet beef shop.
No, I get it from the meat counter at Morrison's.
How'd you cook a roast chicken then?
You stick it in the oven after basting it. What
Basting
I do
it
is...
with what?
Okay, I'll tell you.
Go on.
You unwrap the chicken and you take the giblets out of the middle of the chicken, okay?
Right.
And then what you do is I baste it, right?
How do you baste it?
What do you mean? How do I baste it?
With?
I baste it with goose fat.
Goose fat?
Yes, I do. I baste it with goose fat.
You buy goose fat, do you?
I do.
Don't you think that's a bit of a mixing of the species?
Not at all. It's a well-known culinary marvel.
So you buy the goose fat and heat it up, do you?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I baste the chicken with goose fat.
Yeah.
I then put it in my roasting tin.
Yes.
But before I put it in my roasting tin, I put silver paper in my roasting tin.
Silver foil,
so I don't have to clean the roasting tin after I've taken the chicken out.
Clever,
See,
smart.
it is clever, smarter than the average bear.
Yeah. So what do you stuff it with?
What?
What do you stuff it with?
I don't stuff my chicken with anything.
You don't put anything inside it?
No.
Really?
No,
It's a lot more flavoursome if you put
No,
something
it's a
inside
foul
it.
way of doing it.
Foul, very good. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. I cooked that up with
And
a
what
kettle
about
of water.
Any seasoning?
Seasoning doesn't need
a
seasoning.
kettle of water?
Kettle of water, and
Where did you put the kettle of water?
I put it in a glass bowl with the contents of my box of Fray Bentus stuffing.
Oh, you mean Paxo?
Paxo, that's it. That's the stuff. Yeah. Lemon.
No, that's very good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Lemon
you should
Paxo.
still put stuff inside the chicken.
No.
You said you should put a carrot, sometimes a lemon or an orange. Gives it a really nice flavour. Some onions, some carrots.
I love chicken as it is. I don't want to ruin it with all sorts of strange.
Do you put any herbs on the top of it?
No. Although
so
sometimes
you don't put salt and pepper. You don't season it.
I put salt and pepper on. I put it on my plate and eat it.
Well, you should do it while it's cooking, though.
No, what I do is sometimes
I've seen the time, by the way.
I actually sprinkle it with rosemary and thyme, literally. Oh, and something else. Basil.
And basil.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's what you should do.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, so you can cook two things.
No, I can cook loads of things.
Well, listen, I'd be very happy to teach you how to cook. That's all I'm saying. It's a genuine offer.
I'm going to make a pie.
Are you?
I'm going to make a pie.
What sort of pie?
It's going to be steak, mushroom, and...
You tried this once before, didn't you?
Hang on, steak and mushroom.
Steak and mushroom,
yes.
But you tried this once before, didn't you? It didn't come out too well.
What I'm not sure about is how much of the meat do you cook before you put it in the pie and bake it in the oven? You see what I mean? I'm not sure how long you do that for.
Well, you could stew it first, depends on whether
Well, that's what I'm thinking. But as my sister is a cordon bleu home economist...
Yeah.
I will take instructions from her.
Okay.
Not in taking instructions from a fat blob like you, who actually is only ever cooking as an excuse to drink all the cooking sherry.
I cook as an addendum to my drinking glasses of wine.
Yes,
but anyway,
that's right. Yeah.
That's enough of that
Disgusting.
because we're already running late on the show, which has only been going for like 10 minutes. So it's absolutely extraordinary. We've got Ask Porky coming up. We've got a druid coming on to talk about the summer solstice, and also I'm going to be asking you about the strawberry moon as well. And of course, Roy Hodgson. This is TalkSport. TalkSport, we are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on in the day, of course. So we've got a lot of tweets coming in, Mr. Parry. Would you like me to read any of them to you?
Yes, please.
The Time Traveller says this: we need to take this cooking thing to the next level. A weekly dish with the two mics in the kitchen, posted on Twinkies TV. I don't know what that means, but we were supposed to be doing a cook-off, but we haven't been able to arrange it, have we, with old Aldo Zilli?
No.
Just because time is of the essence.
I tell you what I would like to do, actually, as a challenge, and we can do it very soon, and we can video it, right?
Yeah.
The new adult toy, which is selling in its thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, is the hula hoop.
The hula hoop?
The hula hoop.
Is it?
Now, did you do the hula hoop when you were a kid?
No, I absolutely did not.
Oh, I did.
Why?
I love the hula hoop. I was so
had
good
a
at
hula
it.
hoop?
Eh?
I thought it was a girl's toy.
No, it's not. Everybody's it.
No, it's a girl's toy.
Nah, rubbish. The only reason you don't want to do it is because you probably wouldn't get one around your fat belly.
I've often asked you for your waist measurement, which you continually don't forget to give me.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it is. I don't measure it that often.
Really?
But so you don't fancy that at all, then?
What, a hula hoop?
Yeah.
No, of course not. I mean, it was kind of a decade before I was born, wasn't it, the hula hoop? It was
well, I don't know. It was, I tell you who started it, Chubby Checker. Everybody... No, what was it?
Chubby Checker?
Chubby Checker, yeah, did a song.
I interviewed Chubby Checker once.
No, you couldn't have done.
I did.
He died about 1962.
No, I interviewed Chubby Checker. No, I did. I interviewed him when I was in New York.
What did you interview him about?
I can't remember. It was something to do with, it might have been in Woodstock or something like that. It was something or other that he'd done in the past.
Let's twist again. That's what he did.
Again, yeah.
Let's
Chubby
twist
Checker.
again.
Yeah.
Like we did last summer.
That's right.
Let's twist again.
He didn't have a hula hoop, though.
Like we did last year. Yeah, well, he was the inventor of the hula hoop.
No, he did not have a hula hoop.
Okay. Now, listen, I want to show you this picture, right?
I did one of yours, actually, because I did an interview him on the phone. And he rang me up.
Yes.
When they sometimes do that. And they
say,
he's going to ring you. And so he rang me, and he said, hi, Mike Graham, it's Chubby Checker here. And I called him, I said, oh, hello, Mr. Checker. I called him Mr. Checker.
Yeah, that's right.
Ridiculous thing to say.
Well, I suppose, what else would you call him?
He's still alive, by the way.
Sorry?
You've killed him off and he's still alive.
Oh, he's still alive? Chubby Checker? God, he must be a real ripe old age.
Yeah, he's 74.
74?
Yeah. So that's another musical star that you've killed off.
Funny enough,
along with Mike Oldfield.
I sent a sort of young reporter, who's doing a few shifts in Fleet Street, along to do a piece. It was like he was opening a supermarket.
Yeah, that's what he looks like.
How old is he?
He's 74. That's about 10 years ago, though.
Yeah, well, exactly. I thought it'd be... he's 64 there. I thought it'd be much older than that. No, I sent this kid along to... Leslie, what's his name? Used to play Dirty Den in... in EastEnders.
In EastEnders, yeah, I remember
What's his name? Leslie...
I can't remember.
Something, but anyway, he turned out to have rather a bizarre sort of personal life or whatever, you know. Sometimes they do.
Well, he got caught out, didn't he?
He got caught out, I'm afraid, yeah.
In the days before people did that sort of thing.
But in those days...
Leslie Grantham.
Leslie Grantham, that's him. He was Britain's biggest TV star, and he became bigger when a red-top tabloid revealed that he'd served 11 years in prison for murdering somebody when he was in the army in Germany, you know. So it was an amazing story. Nevertheless, you know, society forgave him and became the most popular actor. So anyway, I sent this kid along, you know, and I said, just, you know, he's opening a supermarket, so I'm just have a chat with him in case he's got anything interesting to say, you know.
Was this after you knew about the prison stuff?
Oh, it was way after, you know. It was accepted then that, you know, he was a reformed villain and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the kid comes back and writes the copy, and you just said there about Mr. Checker. The kid filed the copy, called him Mr. Dirt, because, of course, he was known as Dirty Den on EastEnders, so he didn't know what to call him.
Mr. Dirt.
Mr. Dirt.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Here's one from Matt, who says, I love how Porky can work independently, but as soon as MG suggests doing something on his own, Porky gets all bent out of shape.
What? What's that?
Well, I think this is referring to my, cookery thing. And Ernie says this: there's only one person who understands Mike Parry's mind and his jokes, and that's Porky's himself.
Yeah, is
what
that
a
right?
thick plank he is.
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it? Thank you.
And then it says, Steve says, off Porky goes again, slamming MG for drinking.
Yes.
Hashtag he who cast the first stone.
Yeah, well, you know, you won't find me lying face down in a gutter or anything like that,
You
okay?
didn't have a drink today, then?
What?
Did you have a drink today?
I had a...
I know you don't drink normally during the week.
No, I had a small imbibement today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've had a document passed to me.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, over the course of the last few hours.
Oh, what's that?
And actually, it's quite complimentary to you, bizarrely.
Really?
But would you like me to read it out to you?
If you want to.
Dear Mr. Graham,
yes.
I would like to take the opportunity to tell you and the world that Mike Porky Parry is an absolute gentleman, which matches his genius.
Well,
now, normally, that's exactly where I would stop reading.
Well, okay.
Because I'd go, well, this has clearly come from some kind of, place where strange people are kept. Mr. Parry was accompanied by a fellow TalkSport presenter, of whom I will not mention due to confidentiality. Mr. Parry should not be labelled man of the people. Mr. Parry should be rebranded man of all generations and beyond.
Oh, thank you.
I strongly believe this because he was so kind to me and my staff. Oh, super.
Yes.
Were you in a place where you could push people around?
No, I wasn't pushing anybody around.
Okay.
Well,
he even offered to take a picture, for which I was extremely honoured.
Yes, well,
I couldn't help but ask if this was a quick bladderation session, to which he replied, Mr. Ash, bladderation in moderation, my good man.
Yes.
I was boasting to my staff how much of a great entertainer and genius wordsmith he is, when after an hour of enjoying various beverages on the terrace, the staff were a little confused to see my hero staggering inside asking, is everyone having a great time, with his hands in the air, clearly demonstrating that he was.
Yeah, I didn't actually, but all of that is perfectly accurate until that last sentence. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, never mind.
Anyway, he says, I just want to say thank you again for your hospitality, as you are a great ambassador for the people, and I look forward to seeing you again soon at our establishment for more bladderation in moderation. I've included a picture, which I will always cherish. It will have a place next to one of myself and my long-term girlfriend, Colleen. We'd appreciate it if you could give us a shout-out. Yours sincerely, Ashton.
Oh, that's rather nice,
there's
isn't
a very
it?
nice picture of you with Ashton, which looks like it's on the terrace of some establishment.
It's down at Canary Wharf, actually.
Is it?
I was doing a job this morning, and when it was with Al, actually, Mr. Brazil, and when we finished, we whipped over to Canary Wharf and had some lunch in a very nice establishment.
Very
I'll tell you what it's called, by the way.
Yeah, go on.
It's called Lobster and Steak.
Oh, I know the place.
Right, yeah. Now, this
I was only down the road. You didn't think to invite me.
Where were you?
Well, I live down the road.
Yeah, but
I live about 10 minutes from Canary Wharf.
Yeah, well, no, why would I invite you?
Well, just because you're in my neighbourhood. I mean, if I came to your, crappy part of Surrey and didn't give you a ring and say, oh, by the way, I'm in your crappy part of Surrey, do you come down to the pub for a drink? I think you'd be quite offended.
No, I wouldn't. I believe that every man's an island, to be honest.
Really?
But anyway, listen, what I was going to say was...
Canary Wharf is an island of dogs.
What was quite interesting, so Al and I were sitting at this table, having some lunch, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this huge group of people came in, about 8 or 10 of them, right? So the staff, who were ever so helpful, because we were outside on the terrace, said, yes, we can cope with you, 10 of you, certainly, So they pulled
10 of you?
Yeah, there's 10 of them,
There's 10 of you?
There's 10 of them.
Oh, this is another group?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Al and I were just on our own.
Oh, I see.
There's a group of 10 of them, and the staff were ever so helpful and said, yes, we can help you. So they pulled all the tables together, and then everybody from this group who'd been standing there watching them pull all the tables together and put the cloths on and all that kind of stuff, then sat down, and then the lady came out and gave them all a menu. So they said... this is no good.
Right.
I think they were from, like, the Far East or something, you know what I mean?
The Far East?
Yes.
What, you mean like sort of Hong Kong, that sort of way?
Yeah, that's right, yes, I think that way, yeah. So this is no good. So the lady said, oh, I'm sorry, what's wrong? They said, we would all like chicken.
Right.
She said, well, the name of this restaurant is Lobster and Steak.
Right, so they don't have any chicken.
That's what we serve.
Yeah.
And they said, "Where's the chicken?" Seriously. So she said,
"Can you go out for some chicken?"
No, she said, "No, you don't quite understand. You can have this steak, that steak, fillet steak, rump steak, or you can have lobster." And in fact, it's one of those establishments.
Some places in America they do chicken fried steak, which is like steak fried in sort of chicken fat.
Oh, no, it wasn't that, no. But this place is one of those places which actually makes me cringe a little bit, but they've actually got the lobsters in the tank inside, you see what I mean?
Did you have any lobster?
No, I didn't know. I love lobster. I don't like lobster.
Because you can go and pick one, can't you?
No, I can't get into all that. It's rubbery. But anyway...
Rubbery?
Yeah, it's too rubbery. Lobster's rubbery.
No, it's not.
It is. It tastes rubbery.
Properly.
Anyway, the point of my story is, after a 5-minute conversation, they all said... Right, no chicken then. So for the 4th time, the lady said, "No, we got this lobster, that lobster. So we got vegetarian stuff, got salads, we haven't got any chicken."
Right.
Said, "Right, thank you." So they all got up and left. Yeah, literally.
Blimey.
And then the staff had to come back, then rearrange all the tables again.
Send them to Nando's. That's all they've got is chicken.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, I don't know where Nando's is. Anyway, listen, do you think we should have a kind of run through tomorrow morning's back pages? Because...
Well, I think we should definitely talk about what's being said about Roy Hodgson.
Well, I agree.
Because he's clearly... I think it's a bit rum, actually, for the FA to suddenly start criticising him.
Well,
As I said, in the open, I mean, these are the guys that appointed him. These are the guys that extended his contract.
After 18.
These are the guys that gave him all the money to make him the best paid manager at the Euros.
I know.
And I mean, it's not really their job to say, "Oh, we're not very happy with all the changes you made to the team."
Yeah.
We have a reputation for giving Hodgson a hard time.
Yeah.
But actually, on this one, I think they're absolutely barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you? Why do you keep turning away? I'll read you some of these.
I'm really sorry, but I've got early middle age.
What?
What do you call it? Grass fever. What's it called?
Hay fever.
Hay fever.
Grass
hay fever.
fever.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's the same
just got
thing.
The fever is what you've got.
No, honestly, my nose runs, my eyes are stinging.
You shouldn't get that in here, though.
I keep rubbing my fingers in my eye because they itch so badly, and now they've gone all red and sore.
I told you to get some
I've got stars in my eyes.
I told you to get some antihistamine yesterday.
Yeah, but I forgot.
Yeah. Here's one. Where are we from? From Daniel. He says, "What's the difference between Ike, Orky, Harry and a bucket of horse manure?" The answer, the bucket.
Oh, dear.
Sean says,
"No, that's very hard.
Why does the plank dislike Irish people?"
No, I don't. I love Irish people.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. I mean, I've told the story about my Belfast girlfriend, and all that kind of stuff, so I haven't got a problem with Irish people at all.
All right. Alan says this, the only gerrymandering is that result was so close in winners and losers. Surprised anyone voted for Planky Parry.
Well, I mean, that's typical.
Anyway, what it now means is 5.5 to 4.5, and I think there's only another maybe 2 or 3 actual games of it.
Just time for me to leap over you and win the series, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, but very possibly.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Here's one from Steve. He says, he's still going on about you not accepting a drink from him. Surely if Porky was a gentleman, he would accept a drink from a loyal listener. MG knows the answer.
Well hang on, where did that happen?
Dingwalls. But Steve, there's a very good reason
why. Hang on, was that
Porky...
in the pub before Dingwalls?
It was, yeah.
And we were warming up?
Well, it was either in the pub or it was in the bar beforehand.
Yeah, right.
It's just that we don't tend to do that kind of thing. It's nothing to do with not accepting it.
No.
It's just a question of, if it starts like that, it doesn't usually end well.
Yeah. People are very generous, but once you start accepting...
we do appreciate the generosity.
I mean, what's happened in the past, just to explain to people, a million things can go wrong. Yeah. Somebody says, "Would you like a drink?" You say, "Yes, thank you." Your phone then goes, and you realise you've got to leave immediately because we've been called up to the theatre or something like that.
Yes.
Next minute, the very kind person comes back to where you were with 2 drinks in their hands. You're not there.
And you're not there.
They accuse you of running away and all that kind of stuff. It's just not really very practical to get involved in drinking with the audience before the show, but we're very, very happy to do that after the show, and we do a lot of that.
And we do,
and we mix. Yeah,
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Kojak says Porky's off to a flyer tonight. Chubby Checker invented the hula hoop and then died in 1962. Which of course he didn't. He is alive and well.
Yeah, hey Chubby,
I've spoken to him.
If you're listening,
coming up in a little while, Mark Dawson's going to join us. He's going to run us through all the games from last night and tell us what he thinks of the Hodgson situation.
Well, indeed.
This is Talk Sport.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind?
This is Talk Sport. We are the 2 mics. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to be talking to a very solemn, learned man about the summer solstice. I thought he was going to be a druid, actually, but it turns out he's not a druid. Yeah. He's a religious scholar.
Yes.
A man by the name of Racer McCready.
Do you say he's an oval or something?
Well, it says here he's an ovate.
Ovate,
but I'm not sure what that is. I mean, all I can find about the word ovate is that he's shaped like an egg. I presume that's not true. Well, he might be. I mean, you're shaped like an egg.
I'm not even going to respond to that. you know the most common shape of a British woman?
Of a woman?
Yeah,
pear-shaped.
Pear-shaped, yeah.
But you're shaped like an egg.
No, I'm not shaped like an egg, but I quite like pear-shaped women.
You come to a point at the top, do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, well, I do. Yeah, well, I like a lady with a figure.
Yeah.
I think if it was
you don't like skinny women, is what
I like skinny women, and I like women with a figure. So pear is perhaps not right.
Yeah.
An enlarged pear at the top, so to speak, type thing. You see what I mean? You know what I mean? But I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
I do, exactly, yes.
Yeah,
yes, quite right.
Yes.
Thank you for that, pointing that out.
Yes.
Irish one says, Porky loves us Irish, don't agree. He doesn't have anything against the Irish, he knows better.
What? I've got nothing against the Irish at all. I've spent a lot of time in Ireland. Ireland culture, the race, the people there. It was wonderful.
Yeah,
I've never had a problem.
Well, I would vouchsafe for that. Connor says this, any word of the penalty shootout for the two mics in keeping with the Euros, a must for the two mics TV.
That's a Sunday programme special.
It's in the works, isn't it?
And I think we're doing a Sunday programme for at least 3 Sundays in July.
We are.
Maybe more.
Yeah, that's right. So maybe we'll be able to organise that.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know, I've got an update on the car situation for you.
Oh, yes, right,
you know, I told you
please.
about my bizarre,
the wheel.
Sort of mystery puncture.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
The puncture has now been repaired. It was only 25 quid in a local...
well, that's good.
sort of tyre. Yeah, so they were able to repair
So did they find out what happened?
Well, the guy who fixed it initially said something went in but came back out again.
Yeah, no. So what could that be? A bullet?
A bullet?
Yeah.
Well, I hope not.
Well, a bullet goes through it.
But a bullet would have shredded it, though.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Well, you're suggesting somebody's out to get me.
Well, you never know.
You do never know. But how about this, right?
Yes.
So the mother of my children took the car back from the place with the repaired tyre.
Okay.
Parks it in the car park, which is adjacent to the school. It's not a school car park, it's a public car park.
Yes.
Some guy in a Dutch registered car backs into it.
Backs into
my car.
Which is already a wreck, by the way.
It is a bit of a wreck,
Yeah.
that's true, but it goes very well.
Which bit of it did he back into?
Into the back bumper, because she'd parked
well,
it
see,
as the
bonnet is already smashed up.
She'd parked it nose in, right?
Yeah.
This guy backs out of the parking spot just as she's approaching the car with one of my kids.
Yeah.
Whams into the back of it, obviously, disconcerted.
Yes.
Has a quick look out the window and drives off.
Did you get the number?
No. I said to her, did you get the number? She went, oh, it was a Dutch plate.
Yeah.
Any clues as to what the number was? No, apparently, she said, well, maybe he looked at your car and decided it wasn't worth stopping.
And have you examined the damage?
I haven't seen the car, it's in Sussex.
And what is the report on the centre of damage?
I said, is there anything hanging off?
Yeah.
She said, no.
But is there a dent
And she said, actually, his car was more damaged than mine. It's the back bumper, basically. It's got
but has it forced the bumper onto the car or something?
No, it hasn't, no.
Oh, right, so you think it's okay?
I don't think it was that hard, but it's pretty disgraceful, isn't it?
Enough.
I mean, that's me now being the subject of 2 effectively hit and runs, because the guy that did the bonnet never stopped either.
Hit and run as well. I think it's just unlucky like that because you've got that sort of face.
Yeah, but it makes me wonder anyway.
Yeah.
If I was having to pay, if it was a brand new car, and I was having to pay out bucket loads of money to get things fixed and repainted and all that, I would be very unhappy.
Well, I don't blame you. You see, thing is, I tell you why he might not have stopped if he's Dutch and all that. You know all these people who live in, like, metropolitan London, like North London, what do you call it, metropolitan elite?
Yes.
Live in places like Gospel Oak, don't they, in places like
Islington,
that. Islington, all that kind of stuff.
Hampstead.
Yeah, Alistair Campbell told me, Alistair we used to work with all those years ago, Fleet Street and all that, you know, and he was Blair's right-hand man, wasn't he?
He was.
All that kind of stuff. And he said that the only way you can park in spaces in those streets, if you see one, is sometimes they are so tight, you literally have to nudge the car behind you away.
Well, I mean, in New York City, that was always the way to park.
Exactly. Yeah. You just go bang, bang, bang until you've moved it 2 or 3 inches to get your car in.
It's not that you bang it, it's just that in those days as well, there wasn't any of the... I mean, I've got now, on the front and the back of the Land Rover, I've got these sensors.
Yes, that's right,
Which actually drives you mad if you're trying to get to a small space. There's 2 different noises going off.
I agree.
But they didn't have sensors in those days, so sometimes you just edge back until you couldn't go any further.
I have side sensors as well, you see, on my Mer, because it's so expensive.
Yeah, I think Land Rover's got those too, because if a bike goes past too close, they go off.
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Right, now then...
It's not because your car's so expensive. It's just, have you solved the problem with your radio, by the way? Have you fixed that yet?
There's nothing to fix.
Well, yeah, there is. You have to take the TP thing off.
No. I think you'll find there was some divine intervention there.
Really?
I've had quite a few messages about that. Now, listen, I want to show you this picture, okay? But I'm not going to show you any caption on it. What would you say that is?
I would say that looks like a training camp for the female regiment of the North Korean army.
Is that right?
That's what I would say.
Well, when I first glanced at it, I thought the same. Do you know what it is?
What is it?
Trainee flight attendants in Sichuan, China,
Sichuan?
are given military training so they can handle any emergency situation, including subduing unruly passengers on Air China.
They're all in camouflage gear.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Well, they're not wearing, like, the Air China...
Well, I tell you what, next
time... Or is that the Air China uniform?
Well, I don't know, but they're grappling them, strangling them, putting their faces down in water. I'm going to put this picture out.
Yeah, I think you should.
And the next time I fly to Shanghai, I'm going to go on British Airways, because if I go on Air China and get bladderated, one of these
that
girls...
That might be how they carry you off.
They train them to the standards of, like, an SAS operative. Well, that's
good, isn't it?
Right, and
they don't mess around.
Before you know it, you'd get the old... Yeah, hoo, ha, yeah, ho, bang, ooh, bang, and you're down. You know what I mean?
And they put those plastic handcuffs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So,
tie it to the chair.
So I tell you what, I'll send this picture out now. People can make their minds up about the level of what am I talking about here? The level of training which air flight attendants should go in for.
Although, of course, as you know, there's been a lot of talk of air marshals that have been in the air, certainly on American flights after 9/11. Because I had a run-in with a couple of air marshals. I think I told you about 8 years ago.
I think you did, yeah.
When I was coming back from New York to Edinburgh, in fact, when I was living there.
Mm-hmm.
And so every flight that you go on now, going into American airspace and sometimes coming from it, has a couple of these guys on it.
Yeah.
And they carry guns.
Yes, they do, but you don't know who they are, do you?
You don't know who they are.
No, exactly.
But they are. But they will jump and leap into action.
Oh, yeah, no,
if there's any reason to do so.
The only thing is, the strangest thing is, right, the mystery's never been solved.
Yeah.
Why do they carry guns? Because if you fired a gun inside a plane at 35,000 miles an hour, the plane would probably blow up.
35,000 feet. Well, it was
35,000 feet.
Well, some have suggested that they might carry. They might carry basically these guns which would not pierce the outer coating of the aircraft.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that they could be like almost a stun gun or a taser or something like that. They might
actually,
have those as well.
Yeah, but when you pull a gun out on somebody, that's usually enough to frighten them into submission, if you see what I mean.
Yes.
It's a psychological thing, and all about that.
Right.
Being a student of psychology.
Anyway, I think you want to talk about Roy Hodgson in the FA.
Well, I think we should, because, I mean, it's clearly there's a huge problem there now. I mean, Greg Dyke is going after the tournament, okay?
Yes.
But he, I think, still feels furious that he was never able to get his reforms through the FA Council, which was always a hopeless task.
His reforms weren't any good anyway.
Well, it depends what they were.
Greg Dyke was a waste of time. I mean, what has he achieved at the FA?
Not a lot, in my view. I tend to agree with you. However, Mr. Martin Glenn is the chief executive. And he was the guy who said a year ago, which first ruffled Roy Hodgson's feathers. Yes. Well, we'll have to see what happens in Euro 2016 before we start talking about offering Roy Hodgson a new contract.
But they'd already extended his contract to Euro 2016 before the Brazil World Cup, hadn't they? Which was the other mistake they made.
This is the worst line here. This is written by John Cross, our friend.
Oh, yeah.
In the Mirror. Roy Hodgson admits he still does not know his best starting team, but insists he likes it that way. The England manager has no regrets about resting 6 players against Slovakia. The goalless draw meant England finished second behind Wales and have a last 16 game against the runners-up, etc., etc. Now, somebody told me that one theory for Roy making these changes, right? Yeah. And this is not proven. This is a
theory.
This is a footballer insider telling me the theory.
Okay.
Is that Roy Hodgson knows that sometime he will have to stop coaching. He's too old.
Yeah.
He's tried to acquire over the 35 years or whatever he's been a coach of being like a sort of European super brain, you know.
Right.
You know, this mystic sort of man, you know, who's worked all around Europe in Sweden and all that.
Well, I presume he's looking for a sort of a cushy kind of gig over in China.
No, he's not. He'd love to be a big shot in UEFA on the coaching side.
Really?
He'd like to be like head of coaching at UEFA, and all this kind of stuff.
God, heaven help.
And so when he made the substitutions, which resulted in us winning the Wales game by the skin of our teeth, he got carried.
Which you praised him for, by the way.
Well, I did because we won the game, so that's fair enough. But he got carried away apparently by the number of people who said, "Oh, brilliant tactical substitutions." Yeah. So he
heard people like you praising him and thought, "I've got it made now." So you shouldn't have done it.
No, it was...
You lured him into a false sense of security.
It was worse than that. He started believing he was a genius with these brilliant tactical substitutions, so decided then to exercise another side of his genius and completely pull apart and revamp the team to go into the third game. Yeah. And somebody said to me, one of the reasons he did that was to try and impress his UEFA mates into thinking that he has this fantastic tactical brain. It didn't go well at all. So I think he shot himself in the foot.
Because of the weird world of football and the way that logic works in football.
Yes.
For example, when the Spain-Croatia game started last night, and Spain scored their first goal within a couple of minutes, right?
That's right.
Suddenly, everyone was like, look at this. Spain don't change their winning team.
Yeah.
Spain are playing with the same same players.
Yeah.
Roy Hodgson's obviously a plank, right?
And
suddenly they lost to Croatia.
Croatia changed 5 players.
2-1, yeah. So by the end of the game, all the same people who were saying, Hodgson's obviously been proved wrong again,
yes.
We're all saying, oh, well, now Roy doesn't look so bad because Spain have come second in their group. I mean, it's impossible, practically impossible, because I had another one of these, hours and hours of debating with people on Twitter.
Sure.
It's practically impossible to ever convince anybody of anything.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
It's mad.
What about this headline here? Hodgson made a huge error, right? So that's a statement of what I would call the bleeding obvious.
Yeah.
Followed by another obvious statement, and may have called time on his England reign. Who do you think said that?
It wasn't Greg Dyke, was it?
It was Robbie Savage.
Robbie Savage. There we go.
Right,
Now, we've got to talk to Mark Donaldson coming up very shortly. This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mikes, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
UEFA Euro 2016 on Talk Sport with the caddy from Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles. Advanced safety and comfort your team can depend on.
I don't want to change the world. I'm not looking for a New England. I'm looking for another girl. I don't want to change the world. I'm not looking for.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. Coming up in the next hour, we will be talking to a very scholarly man about the whole business of the summer solstice and what it means to everybody.
Who's
Religious
that?
scholar, an ovate in the order of bards, ovates and druids.
Yeah.
His name is Race McCready.
Oh, can't
so
wait.
We'll find out from him to what he's saying. D says this. He's tweeted us at the Two Mikes. He says, probably a glass or a nail that went into your tyre, yet Porky thinks it was a bullet. I think his mafia tale is haunting him.
Yeah, well, it could be. Could be, indeed.
And Stephen says Hodgson is doing all he can with a poor squad. Greg Dyke is the Farage of football, loves the limelight, blames foreigners for England's failings. Well, I don't think Greg Dyke has done particularly well as the head of the FA. But let's talk to Mark Donaldson from ESPN, find out what he makes of the way the Euros have been going. Mark, a very good morning to you.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Yeah, very well indeed. Please excuse the occasional nose blowing you hear in the background. It's Porky apparently suffering from hay fever.
No, sorry, Mark. It's just an onset of hay fever, mate. It happens here. It's when you start approaching early middle age, it sort of gets you. But enough of that, mate.
Mark wouldn't know anything about that. He's far too
Are
young.
you well, Mr. Parry, apart from that?
Oh, well, I am, except for the travails of the England team, of course, in the Euros. But, I mean, that's...
At least you're there. I'll swap you for that problem. More than happy to swap you for that problem being Scottish.
Well, indeed. It happens every 2 years. It's either at the Euros or the World Cup. We run into all these problems. I mean, do you know what the latest excuse is, Mark? You try and shed some light on this. Well, one reason why Roy Hodgson might not go, even after another debacle following Brazil and now following the Euros, is... well, who would replace him? What a stupid question. Who would replace him? Anybody would replace him. Anybody would be better.
Do you know, this is the interesting thing. When Greg Dyke said... whichever newspaper or radio station quoted him at the weekend, when he said that Roy Hodgson will probably stay if they get to the kind of knockout and if it's deemed successful enough. Who decides how successful a successful campaign for England is?
Well, it's very difficult to actually come up with a specific explanation, isn't it? Because Greg Dyke has previously been quoted as saying, well, probably the semi-finals would be a success, or if we went out in the quarter-finals in a penalty shootout. Yeah. So you're suddenly now going, well, if you got beaten by an unlucky goal or something like that, it's ridiculous. It's like everything in football you cannot really measure, can you?
Well, Porky said that anyone would replace him. So right now, I think the only way that you get rid of Roy Hodgson, if you've got somebody better to come in.
Yes.
Now, it's easy to identify a problem, but it's harder to find a solution. So for you guys, who would you have? You two are English, although Mr. Graham would say the part Scottish.
I'm British, Mark. I get into a lot of trouble.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Mark, I'll answer that.
Porky's also half Welsh.
I'm not actually, but I'll answer that.
You will be by the end of this tournament.
Two words. Excuse me. Would you not make fun of my nationality, please? I take that personally. Sorry?
Welsh.
Mark, 2 words. Glenn Hoddle.
Well, but he's already had a go.
Yeah, and
he's already had a go.
And he wasn't...
He has to wait for his next lifetime to get one.
No, he wasn't relieved of his position as England coach for any football reasons. It was because he got involved in a ridiculous situation.
That's what I'm saying. He should wait until he gets reincarnated to get the job.
Which was interpreted as being offensive to disabled people. It was a terrible situation for which he lost his job. But as a coach, I can tell you, he still holds a huge regard amongst football people in this country,
He
Mark.
didn't win anything, though, did he?
He did very well, honestly.
The bottom line is the problem England has, there is not a standout candidate to replace Roy Hodgson. You're not going to get 100% autonomy of and 100% of people saying, okay, we want such and such.
You know what I would do? I would go and get Michael O'Neill from Northern Ireland, who we haven't mentioned yet on the show, who've done brilliantly because they're in the last 16.
Yeah, but he's Northern Irish.
He's done
well, he's
done brilliantly with what he's got.
Yeah.
I mean, is Roy getting the most out of these England players?
No.
I'm not sure he is.
No, he's not.
I mean, what would be... This is the other thing as well. Different people would say that getting to the last four is a success. Some people would say, well, what we've got getting to the quarterfinals. You look at what England have got. You look at them in the bottom half of this bracket in the round of 16. No chance are they getting to the final. No chance.
No.
Because it's loaded, absolutely loaded. I did the Germany game today, and we were talking... I did it with Paul Mariner, the former England striker, and he said, you know what the weird thing is? Germany don't really want to win this group because look at where they're going to end up if they do win the group, and that's exactly where they have ended up, in the bottom half.
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the second-place team, Poland, gets Switzerland, Wales are in there, Croatia's in there, Iceland could be in there as well. So it's not easy for England to get out of what they're in. And by the way, I think I'm right in saying it could be England against Wales next. Can you imagine that again? And if Gareth Bale was to give them the lead? I mean, losing in one thing in the group stages, but if Wales were to knock England out of a major tournament, Roy wouldn't last another second.
Now, it pains me to do this, Mark, because not only am I going to now point out Mr. Parry's, sort of shortfalling when it comes to predictions, but you both said that you thought Austria would be a great dark horse. And they could end up coming third, and they could end up, they could end up playing England, of course, couldn't they? At some point as the runner-up from this group of Portugal and Iceland and all the rest of it in Hungary. But I mean, what's happened to Austria, and who should England
They've
look?
been horrid.
Who should England look?
Black Beauty is.
Yeah,
that should have been the dark horse.
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
More of a chance of doing.
But what about
Croatia? I mentioned as well.
But no, what I'm saying is what about who England should look forward to playing? Who would they ideally be able to beat?
Scotland. They're not in it. I mean, and this is the interesting thing as well, because the expectation level now is even less than it was before England went, which I don't think is a bad thing as well. Look what England have come up against, especially in games 1 and 3. They've come up against teams that are content to sit in and soak up.
Yeah. That's
difficult for any team to get the better of. You can look at Wales and say they thumped Russia and England struggled against Russia in the second half. England were the better team, but they couldn't. They weren't clinical enough in front of goal. When it gets to the round of 16, there is no point in sitting in. There's no point in putting 5-6 behind the ball. Some teams are going to have to attack. If England can play the way they played in the second half against Wales, you know what? I know I've said they've got no chance of winning. Look, strange things have happened, but I think teams that have more of a go are going to be easier to play for England than some of the opposition they've had so far.
Yeah, Mark, I accept everything that you've said, but all I would say is this. The reason Roy Hodgson was paid £3.2 million a year, the highest paid coach at the tournament, and probably the highest paid coach in the world, now that the Russians have decided to not pay their man $5 million a year, the only reason he was paid that money was to get us into a winning position in this tournament. All the things you've said are true. 10 men behind the ball, teams difficult to break down. It'll be easier if the teams come out against them. He's failed, and for that reason he should go now. Never mind the end of this tournament, he should be off. Gary Neville should take over.
Well, and that's two things I want to mention. One, 2 years ago, you would have done anything to get through the knockout stages of the World Cup. England were dire; they didn't get through.
But that's not. You can't measure it by how bad we've been in the past.
Well, what you can say though.
I'm just saying we could easily be in a situation right now, given the fact that England have played 3 games, and you could be going home, and then there's no doubt about it. Roy goes. That's the whole. What's the measure of success? For me, it's summed up by this: the next England manager market on Odds Checker has Gareth Southgate as your 6-1 favourite, Gary Neville as 17-2, Eddie Howe and Alan Pardew at 12-1. There is no odds-on favourite. You have got a 6-1 favourite to be the next England manager. Basically, no one knows who they want next.
Yeah, but this is the problem, though. It's the FA are the people who choose the manager. I mean, the FA are now, obviously, I would suggest, and I don't know this for a fact, but I would suggest somebody not a million miles away from Greg Dyke is leaking stories to the papers saying the FA are unhappy about all the changes that Roy Hodgson made. These are the people that hired Hodgson, that extended his contract, that paid him all the money they paid him. It's a bit unfair for them now to sit there and go, we don't like what he's doing, isn't it?
It is. You know who I would go for? And it's someone who's proven it an international manager. And that's what I think is someone you need. I'd go for Lars Lagerbäck.
Who?
He was outstanding with Sweden. Look what he's done with Iceland.
Lagerbäck?
With a population of 300,
Well, he's a good name.
330,000.
Yeah. Well,
you get on well with the fans.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Mark, you're absolutely right in saying what a desperate situation we've got in finding a replacement, because Gareth Southgate, right, failed as a manager in the Premier League, failed with Middlesbrough, went back to be a TV pundit, and then got dragged back into the sort of coaching at a lower level, then became supremo coach for all the teams at the FA, bar the seniors, right? And then, when he failed at the last competition he was in charge of, they reduced his role there, and he's now only in charge of the under-21s. Yeah. I mean, this guy's got a record of failure.
It becomes jobs for the boys if he gets it, does it not?
Well, of course it does. That's the whole point. I still think you've got to be absolutely bold next time round and give it to Gary Neville.
I think Michael O'Neill's the guy to go for.
No, I'd go for Gary Neville. I would say Gary. Yeah.
But the three of us, Porky, have just come up with three different names, and this is what I'm saying.
Yes.
You ask 100 England fans, and I guarantee you're probably going to get 50 different names in there. That's the issue that we've got right now. It's like pick a world-class centre-back. Not too many of them out there. Next England manager, not too many candidates.
Absolutely right. Now, we haven't got a lot of time, Mark, so how do you see the quarter-finals shaping up? And can you answer in about 20 seconds?
I'm going to go for Croatia to get to the semi-finals, and can I just say good luck to the United States, who are just 4 minutes away from kickoff in the Copa America semi-final against Argentina, whose front three in Houston is Messi, Higuain and Lavezzi. Aguero can't even get a game. He's on the bench.
Yeah, very fascinating.
Absolutely amazing.
We'll be watching that. We'll be keeping people updated.
Absolutely
with a bit of luck, I
amazing.
might be seeing you soon as well, because you're coming over to do Wimbledon, aren't you?
Yeah, I get in on Friday morning, the day after the Brexit vote, so please make sure that London is not in flames when I get there.
Yeah, we'll do our
we'll
best.
try and make sure
absolutely
of that.
do our best. Porky and I are going to be on the overnight show all night, so we'll try and get Porky not to whip up the locals and the peasants into any kind of frenzy. Mark, thank you very much indeed. Mark Donaldson from ESPN with his thoughts on the Euros and lots more as well. This is TalkSport. Not too many people impressed with Mr. Donaldson's suggestion of Lars Lagerbäck.
Yeah.
John says this, Lars Lagerbäck, #bladderation. I think someone's getting a bit carried away with that recommendation. Actually used a word that I can't really say. And somebody who calls himself Porky Fat, I don't know whether that's obviously not a real name, suggests...
a reference to me.
Sorry, D says, a Scotsman recommends the next England manager. Lara who?
Yeah, exactly. Who's Lagerbäck? Is the Iceland manager?
Well, I think he says he's the Iceland manager now, but he was the Sweden.
He's had
but he
one
was the
good
Sweden
result.
manager.
He was the Sweden manager.
Well,
I
what
see.
would be wrong with Michael O'Neill, though? I mean, you said, he's Northern Irish, but I mean, we had Fabio Capello, we had Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Yeah, sure.
Why wouldn't you have someone from the British Isles?
Well, because Michael O'Neill's history in managing football is that he managed an Irish League team in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, but did very well with them. Got them to the Europa League, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the early rounds. Yes, you're right. Yeah, and then managed Northern Ireland, but I just can't see that adapting to England, to be honest.
Well,
because
yeah, you say that.
No,
but, I mean,
but the mindset managing Northern Ireland is Underdogsville.
Well, that's fine.
And we don't want Underdogsville to be the manager of England.
But anything that would make England win, I think, would be good.
Well, I totally agree. I totally agree.
And the thing that he has done very successfully is that he's moulded as kind of a team belief and a team system in the same way that Chris Coleman's done with Wales, which apparently none of the England players seem to share with each other.
Yeah, I think Eddie Jones, the rugby coach...
He'd be good, yeah.
No, what I'm saying is he has, literally smashed now any prejudices people had about foreign coaches of any of our national teams.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not against Michael O'Neill because he's not even foreign, is he? He's part of the United Kingdom.
That's what I mean.
So that's not a problem. But I just wonder whether he's best suited to, without being rude to Northern Ireland, but there's only 1 million people there, to sort of little countries, and I wonder how he would cope with the big country with all the attentive pressures.
I mean, he seems to handle the press particularly well. I know that he doesn't get the same kind of scrutiny that Hodgson gets, and I accept that. But I mean, one of the other things that I sent out as a tweet earlier on today was I saw there was an ad on Sky for the third game between England and Australia.
Yes,
with the highlights of the first two and all that. Everybody won the series.
Yeah.
And his quote was, "I will not be satisfied. We will not be satisfied unless we win 3-0.
Yeah, well, that's right.
And then I sort of juxtaposed it with Hodgson's comments from the other night, which is, I hope we will get some wins soon. I mean, spot the difference.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, listen, you said that one of the correspondents there was Fat Mike or something.
Porky Fat.
Porky Fat, there you go. Now, I'm going to show you these pictures of the former Wimbledon champ, whose name is Marion Bartoli. Now, Marion Bartoli is famous because she won in 2013, and then infamously or famously, John Inverdale, the BBC presenter, once described her as no looker.
Oh, yes.
Because she was actually a big and bulky girl. Well, nearly cost him, part of his career, really, because, people said it was sexist and all that kind of stuff. Now, I don't know whether it's because of that, which happened I think that was just after she won in 2013. Yeah. But there's a most remarkable set of pictures of her appearing in some of tomorrow's papers, which shows her, first of all, in 2014 when she won, right? That's the picture to the left.
Okay.
In the middle, she has lost some weight and looks very presentable, I think, in a dress. Very presentable, don't you think?
Yeah, well, it's not a word I would use.
What would you say?
Well, that's okay. It's okay. No, it's fine.
So what word would you use?
Well, it's presentable. Just sounds a little bit sort of, I don't know, sexist to me.
No. I'm saying that she does not look necessarily like She
doesn't look as if she's been on steroids, which she does in the picture on the left.
Yeah, but no. What I was going to say, she doesn't necessarily look like an international athlete. She looks like a very attractive woman.
Yeah.
Some women athletes do have hugely sort of muscular physiques, yes. and she doesn't. But then in the picture on the right. Yeah. I'm sorry to have to say, which was taken this year, 2016, she looks anorexic to me.
No, she doesn't.
She does to me, and she looks like her teeth have dropped out.
So she's lost 5 stone. Well, I don't think her teeth have dropped out either.
Well, her face...
You're having your entire mouth reconstructed.
No.
I don't think you're in any position to judge.
Her face is incredibly gaunt. Her arms are very thin. Her legs are very thin.
But she's obviously now, using her sort of physical attributes in a different way.
But she has lost 5 stone. You're right. I mean, any woman losing 5 stone from a peak of 13 has lost nearly half their body weight.
Right. Well,
I think that's remarkable. I really do. Well, I worry for the poor girl.
Why do you worry?
Well, because she doesn't look well to me. No, I don't agree. I don't think she looks well at all.
Well, she'd probably say something about you.
Well, she probably would, but I have to say... that has shocked me.
Has it?
Well, I didn't recognise her. I didn't recognise her as...
No, I mean, certainly if you went from the first picture to the third picture...
you wouldn't recognise her.
That's unbelievable. You can't believe that's the same person.
And one thing about Ms Bartoli, and that might have prompted John Inverdale to make the comment about no looker, is that she was a very substantial woman in the terms that she illustrated the power that, other female tennis players need to get to the top in that sort of game.
Well, I think also the point is...
But she couldn't win it now because she hasn't got the frame to do it.
Yeah, by the way, it's 1-0 to Argentina already.
Don't cry for me.
Only 4 minutes gone.
Argentina.
I can see the way this one's going.
Yeah, well, I think you could be right there.
Yeah. No, I think the thing is that, if you look at Novak Djokovic, for example, you look at Andy Murray.
He was on the tube, did you see it?
I saw that, yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, it was the overground I think he was on, but yeah, good.
But no, it was a tube that was going overground.
Are you sure it wasn't the overground?
No, it wasn't the overground. Eh?
Well, the story I read said he was on the overground.
No, he wasn't. He was on the tube, which was running on an overground line.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure it was on the overground.
I think you'll find I'm right, because I'm usually.
No, you're not usually, actually. That's why I'm doubting you. You said Chubby Checker was dead earlier.
Well, no, I thought he might have been, because he seems to have been around forever. But I'm delighted he's not.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, my point was going to be, if you look at the way that Andy Murray's physique now is, and you compare that to the way he was, say, before he had Ivan Lendl as a coach, because of the physical conditioning that he's done, he's completely changed the way his body looks.
Yes, he has. I agree.
He's got completely more muscular arms.
I totally agree.
He's got a much more muscular upper body. Novak Djokovic looks much more slim than he used to do.
Yes,
because he's now on this gluten-free diet.
Yes.
She's apparently stopped eating carbs, which she used to use to bulk herself up for the the stamina needed for tennis and all of that.
Sure.
And I think that what you see is sometimes athletes of a male and female persuasion. Looking very different.
Could well be.
When they stop actually doing what they used to do in whatever field they were in.
Could well be.
Yeah.
Now then, having a look at a few tweets here, Jimmy says, can I get a shout-out to my sister Connie on her 18th birthday, first of many epic bladderation sessions to come?
Oh, yes.
Well, he's a kind brother, because he's going out and get bladderated on behalf of his sister's birthday.
Well, no, I presume he means he can take her with him now that she's 18.
Oh, I see what you mean. First of many epic bladderations to come. Yes, OK. Well, Connie, on your 18th, congratulations, and have a great birthday, and let's hope that your future bladderation career is a happy one.
OK, and there's one here from Scott, since we're in the mood for reading these out. He says, any chance of a happy birthday? He's 31 today. Any chance of, he says, love the show, any chance you can come to Hull? Hashtag City of Culture, hashtag Up the Tigers, hashtag Bridge to Nowhere.
OK, and the chap's name is?
His name is Scott.
Scott, a very happy birthday to you, my boy.
And apparently Hull Truck is a theatre in Hull.
Yes.
We were supposed to be going to Hull, actually.
What's it called? Hull what?
The Hull Truck. I think that's
the Hull Truck?
That's what the Twitter address is.
Oh, is that like the garage that we go to in Glasgow?
It could be.
Yeah, OK.
I'll check. I'll just check for you. But I mean, I think basically because I've seen it mentioned before.
Yes.
As a Hull Truck Theatre. Here we go.
Right.
Producing top quality productions for over 40 years.
OK.
Visit us for a show, a workshop, or a bite to eat.
Right. Well, that's very nice, isn't it?
There's a picture of it there. It looks quite
Let's
nice,
have a look.
doesn't it?
Yes, that looks that's a good stage, that. Yeah, OK, might be thinking about that one, as long as nobody attacks us, obviously.
Yeah, right, that would be good.
attacked, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, that would be fine.
Right, now then.
O'Hara says, beautiful rendition of Don't Cry For Me, Argentina by Porky.
Thank you. I thought it was pitch
Scott
perfect.
says, Porky, what has Neville achieved in management compared to O'Neill? No contest.
Eh?
No contest.
No contest, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, Martin says, shaped like an egg, I'm crying here, funniest thing you've ever said.
Really?
And that's your comment about me, calling me an egg.
That's John says he can see the moon right now. He's never had white strawberries. Hashtag strawberry moon. Well, I think it might depend on where you're looking at it from and you know, which sort of aspect of it you can see.
Yes.
If you're in a city, the pollution might make it white.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know.
Indeed.
Anyway, we got lots more to do, including a conversation about the summer solstice. I hope you've boned up on what could be the sort of portents of the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Given the summer solstice. You know, Glastonbury gets underway as well tomorrow, officially.
Well, the Glastonbury Festival.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Do you know what's going to be missing this year?
What?
300 Portaloos.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Where have they gone?
They've replaced them with a more modern facility, for want of a better word, because they are so basic, aren't they?
Well, they are.
Plastic boxes, getting into a plastic box.
But they do fulfil...
Disgusting.
Yeah, but they do fulfil what is required,
well, it's hateful. When you see lorries driving up and down, carting those things around, I think to myself, what a way to make a fortune.
Yeah.
Hauling temporary bogs all over the country. No, thank you, not for me. Forget it.
Well, somebody's got to do it.
I wouldn't go to Glastonbury if I was paid £10,000 a day.
I'm going to tell you.
I wouldn't even perform at Glastonbury for £100,000 a day.
Really?
You wouldn't get me in the mud, the blood and the beer and the filth and all that.
Well, if somebody ever
how many
offers us
filthy
that kind
people are at Glastonbury? You know,
They're not
filthy
It's very
people
middle class.
don't wash for 3 or 4 days, you know, matted mud in their hair, you know, mixing with other filthy people. Not for me.
All right. OK, well, we shall see. If somebody offers you that kind of money, you won't turn it down. This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Madness, they call it madness. Madness, they call it madness. I'm about.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. Coming up in a little while, we'll be talking to Race McCready, religious scholar and ovate in the order of bards, ovates and druids. He's going to be telling us about the summer solstice. But funnily enough, I was looking up Glastonbury just because it gets underway a little bit later on today.
Yes.
Sort of opens up to the public. And some of the bands that are playing there, I thought I'd just run through because you'll have heard of quite a few of them.
Right.
I'm hoping that you'll have heard of Adele, who's obviously
of course I've heard of Adele,
headlining on the Pyramid stage on Saturday.
Is that the big one?
That is the big one.
Right.
But also Squeeze are on at 12:25 in the afternoon.
The Indians send signals from the rock above the pass.
I thought you'd know them. Now, Jeff Lynne's ELO on Sunday. Hang on.
Yeah.
Jeff Lynne's ELO. This is not an opportunity for you to sing a song.
Right,
for
OK, go on. Jeff Lynne ELO.
Jeff Lynne's ELO at 4 o'clock on Sunday. Ellie
Mr.
Goulding.
Sky.
Beck, Coldplay are on as well.
Hang on, who's Ellie Goulding?
Ellie Goulding is a very famous...
what famous song she sung?
British, star. Well, we'll play you some, and you might not recognise them.
Well,
because
go on,
they're
hum an Ellie Goulding song.
Well, I'm not going to hum, because that's not what I do.
No, and you don't know any Ellie Goulding songs.
I do know some Ellie Goulding songs,
Right,
but you wouldn't recognise them.
Keep going.
Beck, who you might recognise from a song...
It's the name of a beer, man. I drink lots of it.
Beck's?
Yeah.
No, Beck is a guy... Remember that song that we play called Loser?
I'm a loser.
I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me?
No, the one I just sang was a Beatles song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about ZZ Top? They're going to play on Friday on the Pyramid stage.
She's got legs.
Right, which is amazing. You've also got...
She knows how to use
the Lewisham
them.
and Greenwich NHS Choir. Do you remember that song that they did to save the NHS?
No.
They're going to be on.
No.
PJ Harvey is going to be on, who you may or may not have heard of.
PJ Harvey?
PJ Harvey. Quite
Hang on,
an
who was the guy from the 60s who split his trousers?
That's
PJ
Proby.
PJ Proby.
This is a woman, actually, as well.
Oh, is it? Right.
Yeah, I thought you might have heard of her, but never mind. Editors are on, who you might have heard of. James.
Editors? No.
You might have heard of James, no?
No, not unless it's the James guy who used to be the tank commander.
No, Earth, Wind and Fire.
James Blunt.
Earth, Wind and Fire.
I never liked them.
They're
you know
great.
I didn't like them?
Why?
They used to play with a drum that had a hole in it.
Eh?
You know what I mean? To give it that sort of effect.
A drum that had a hole in it?
Yeah, you know what I'm
Well,
talking
all
about.
drums have got holes in them. haven't they?
Diddle-a-da,
Eh?
diddle-a-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. That's Earth, Wind and Fire.
Fatboy Slim, you've heard of him, right?
Fatboy Slim is a DJ.
Yeah,
He's
but
married to Zoe Ball.
That's right.
His name is Norman somebody.
He's doing a set there.
And do you know what? You
Yeah.
don't believe this.
Go
I
on.
think in the bad days when Brighton were a struggling club and
Yeah.
all that, I think he gave some out. I know this
Well, he
sounds
lives in Brighton.
Yeah, but I think he gave about £8 million to Brighton.
He
to be
might have done.
honest. Yeah.
He might have done.
Yeah.
Now, there's lots and lots of other. Philip Glass Heroes Symphony, which is going to be fascinating.
Never heard of it.
Ronnie Spector is on Friday on the Park stage.
Is he in relation to Phil Spector?
She.
Oh, she
Yeah.
said Ronnie. Oh, I see, yeah.
She used to be married to him.
No.
Barclay James Harvest.
No, hang on. You
Remember
can't.
him?
That's not true.
Barclay James Harvest.
No, Ronnie Spector wasn't
Yeah.
married to Phil Spector.
You sure?
Don't be ridiculous.
Right.
He's doing 35 years without parole in San Quentin
Yeah,
for
for
murdering his wife.
Yeah, well, he's murdering a woman. I don't know
Yeah,
if she was his wife.
I thought
Art
she was his wife.
Garfunkel is going to be playing.
And you can lay me down like a bridge over
Okay, how about this?
troubled water.
Ralph McTell.
Oh, the streets of London.
Yeah,
Ralph
he's gonna be
McTell. Ralph McTell's about 85, isn't he?
He must be quite old. Glenn Matlock.
So
Remember him?
when can
Remember
I
him?
tell you?
I did say I don't want you to sing every single song.
Yeah.
How about Glenn Matlock? Remember him?
Let me guide you by the hand and take you to the streets of London.
Lead you through the streets of London.
I
think,
tell you
isn't it?
something.
Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper,
Yeah.
girls just want to have fun.
Yeah, she's going to be there.
Right.
What about the Bootleg Beatles? They're going to be there.
The Bootleg Beatles. Now,
Yeah.
they're very good.
Are they?
I
You
nearly
like them?
saw them at the Royal Albert Hall.
Okay. You nearly saw them?
Yeah, but I didn't go in the end.
Okay.
But somebody who did said they were brilliant, and if you closed your eyes, you'd think you were listening to the Beatles.
Yeah. Well, Will Young's going to be playing.
Will Young.
Yeah, I remember Will Young.
Has he sung any
Think I
famous
better
songs?
leave right now? You probably know that one.
No.
You must have heard that on your smooth
No.
radio.
No.
Katie Tunstall, Scottish artist.
Katie Tunstall.
Katie Tunstall, yeah.
KT, is that?
KT.
Is that? Did she pose on the front of Vanity Fair with a very famous model
I
and
don't
a
think
razor?
so. No, I don't think so.
Who was that? Katie Lang.
KD Lang.
Was it KD Lang? That's it, KD Lang. There you go. See, got it in
Yeah, well,
one.
KD Lang is slightly different.
Yeah.
Constant Craving was her song.
Oh, is that right?
Know that
Okay,
one?
yeah. Okay, no.
Anyway,
no.
I mean, there's an incredible sort of array of bands, basically, and old sort of performers as well. Stereo MCs are going to be on, you know, like a rap band. Tom Robinson, is on. Billy Bragg.
Hang on, wasn't Tom Robinson 2, 4, 6,
That's right.
8? Never gonna wait.
Yeah. And Sing If You're Glad to Be Gay is probably more famous than that one.
Oh, okay.
The Selector, remember
Yes.
them?
Yeah.
Ska Band.
Who? Selector?
The Selector.
Never heard of them.
No?
No.
Didn't they do Stand Down Margaret about Margaret Thatcher?
I don't know.
Don't remember them?
Maybe.
I mean, just incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
if you went to this, and then how about this on Sunday?
Yeah.
If you'd like, from on the left field stage.
Yes.
You can have Jeremy Corbyn in conversation with John Harris.
Oh, great. Oh, they're going to travel all the way there just to listen to that.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
That's before the Selector are on as well.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find you any more that you might have heard.
Well, I
from.
don't want any more because, I mean, it's all... You know who goes? Our very good mate, our newsreader, Pete Abbott.
Pete Abbott goes, yeah, he always goes.
He goes every
well,
year.
I'm sure a lot of people from here go.
But hang on, let me tell you about something. Because I was going to tell you about this, right? What's happening at Glastonbury this year is that, you know, I think we had this conversation last year, these guys don't stick to the culture of it now. There's the glampers, right?
The glampers,
Now,
yeah.
these glampers...
But this is not a new thing. This has been going on for years.
Oh, yeah, but the level of... I'm not joking now. The level of... I've got a note on this here. And the level of luxury, which these blinking glampers now get, right, is beyond belief.
Yeah.
It is beyond belief. In fact, I'm trying to find it here. They literally now lift these sort of pop-up hotels in by crane.
Really?
And even sometimes helicopter.
Right. Well, that's a great idea, isn't it?
Well,
because, I mean, one of the biggest problems... I mean, I used to want to go to Tea in the Park quite a lot in Scotland. I went there once.
Yeah.
But I decided because it was a bit grungy, I didn't actually stay the night.
Right.
So I had to leave before the end of the headline act, which was R.E.M.
Right.
But, I mean, it was very nice, and if you went there as part of the press pack, you got... looked after very well backstage and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
But there wasn't a decent hotel to stay in anywhere near the site of the show.
Which was this, Glastonbury?
No, this was Tea in the Park in Scotland.
I see.
Which used to be up in the sort of the wilds of the Scottish countryside, right?
Yeah, okay.
But if you wanted to stay in a hotel, you basically would have to drive probably, half an hour minimum from the hotel
if
to
you
get
could
to
get
the
out of the site.
And if you could get out of it,
exactly,
So most people went and camped there. So the idea of pop-up hotels, I think, is a great one.
Let me read this to you.
In fact, if I knew that there was a pop-up hotel at Glastonbury, I might even consider going.
Right, well, here, let me read this to you. Yeah. From humble hippie beginnings, Glastonbury Festival has expanded to offer all things to all people. Britain's biggest pop-up city now has a variety of options for a filthy rich elite. Filthy rich.
Who's written a filthy rich elite?
Well, the person who's reviewing this.
Yeah.
Who like the idea of going to a festival but hate all the things, mud, portable toilets, loud music, all the people there that festivals actually involve.
Yes.
The Ne Plus Ultra of Posh.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get that? Ne Plus Ultra.
Yeah, I'm not sure you pronounced it right, but I know what you mean.
Ne Plus Ultra. The Ne Plus Ultra of Posh Glasgow, the choice of conspicuous consumption for footballers, bankers and partially slumming politicians alike, is called Camp Kerala.
Oh, yeah.
That's Kerala. It's located at the edge of the site.
Kerala.
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 Yeah.
Kerala. It's a region of India.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, OK.
Kerala.
Right. Located at the edge of the site, this luxurious enclave costs £10,000 for a 5-night stay.
Right.
And features...
So £2,000 a night.
Yeah, £2,000 a night, that's right, yeah. And features... the Maharaja's tent with shag pile rugs.
Well, you'd like that.
That's right, we all like a bit of that, yeah. Shag pile rugs.
Well, there's the Indian connection, isn't it?
Hang on.
The Maharaja's tent.
Maharaja's tent, shag pile rugs, double beds, hot showers, fresh flowers, black cow vodka martinis.
Yeah.
Have you had a bit of black cow vodka
I don't
lately?
think I've ever had black cow vodka martini, but it sounds good to me.
Yeah, black cow vodka martinis, brought to you by attentive young staff. Most importantly, its extremely clean toilets are fitted out with Joseph's £150 vitamin-infused quilted luxury loo rolls, which are recommended by Gwyneth Paltrow.
Right. Well, that's very good. If you get a recommendation from Gwyneth Paltrow. No, but that is a great market to corner, though, because there are a lot of people. I mean, it's probably slightly too rich for my blood, but a lot of people would want to go to Glastonbury and want to do it that way.
OK. Now, listen, you could also stay in a teepee near the Stone Circle, wherever that is, for only £975 a night. A favourite,
Yeah, $9.75
a night for a teepee. Right. But a favourite of celebs is the Winnebago compound in the hospitality area behind the pyramid stage.
Yeah.
This is where Kate Moss has stayed and where Kim Kardashian, dropping in by helicopter last year to catch a Saturday night
That's the only way to go, isn't it?
by her husband Kanye West, made an appearance.
Yeah.
Organised by the party planners and friend to the stars, Fran Cutler. Have you ever heard of Fran Cutler?
Yes, I have.
OK, she's a party planner. It's an ultra-exclusive enclave that is near impossible to get into.
I bet.
Not that you should want to. With its high metal fence, burly security guards, so they keep all the riffraff out, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Keep all the great and washed out.
Well, it's where the celebs hang out, isn't it?
Yeah, and Miss Cutler on the ready to chuck out any badly dressed journalist snooping around in the hope of meeting Moss. The area has earned an unfortunate nickname, Frantanamo Bay.
No.
Because it's named after her, Fran.
As in Frantanamo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
when you pronounce it that way.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Ronnie Spector was married to Phil Spector, by the way, from 1968 to 1974.
You're joking.
And she took his name professionally. Well, why wouldn't
Really?
you? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose he was big in those days, yeah.
She lives in Danbury, Connecticut.
She was in... Oh, Danbury?
Yeah.
Danbury, that's near Ivor's place.
Not a million miles away, but more importantly, it's where my ex-wife came from.
Oh, right, OK, yeah.
Danbury, Connecticut.
Yeah, I know Danbury, Connecticut.
Yeah.
I think that's quite close, actually, to the Yankee Clipper I was telling you about the other night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the Yankee Clipper pub, yeah.
No, right,
yeah.
OK.
Right.
Stuart says this, Koeman for England, let him sell Stones and Barkley and then leave. Porky for the madhouse. Actually, funnily enough, I haven't heard you say much about the absence of Barkley and Stones, who are now the only two outfield England players who have not actually made an appearance in the tournament.
Well, it's about time they did, in my view. I think Barkley would have done a better job than some of the players on the pitch of the night. And as for John Stones, I thought he was going to go on because in the early moments of the Slovakia game, do you remember Gary Cahill went down rather heavily on the touchline, had to be taken to the...
And everybody took a sharp intake of breath.
That's right, yeah.
Because nobody knows whether he's got anybody that can fill in for him.
Well, John Stones, of course, you idiot. He's the only centre-half. He's only the centre-half there.
Unbelievable. You want to leave it to him.
Oh, well, I think you would.
He's now short of game time.
Yes, but not as short a game time as Jack Wilshere. That was made evident by Jack Wilshere's really rather poor performance of all the ratings, by the way. And I look at all the ratings after every game of the teams that I'm watching. He got the lowest 5.5 average, and the poor lad didn't have a good game.
He was only given 4 by L'Equipe, apparently.
Was that right? Yeah. By L'Equipe, the French newspaper.
Exactly.
L'Equipe is it's French, isn't it?
French,
yeah. It's not the Spanish one, is it? That's
La
Marca.
Looks like that could have been a penalty, though. But, no, it's still 1-0 to Argentina. 23.
I've got something amazing to tell you in a minute.
Well, you have to hold on because we can't get guests coming up
had
next.
a magic whistling bullet, which they...
Maybe that's what hit my tyre.
No, they used it to wipe out the Scots.
Look at the time. Well, they didn't wipe out the Scots, did they?
Well,
it didn't work.
They tried to with the whistling bullet. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mikes, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
I'm staying out for the summer, playing games in the rain. The hills and the fortune got me fooled again. You see, I work in a factory. I don't want...
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. Loads more coming up, of course, including Ask Porky. We have also determined that we are going to do a Porky quiz on something to do with Europe, but we'll get to that a little bit later on and be more specific about it.
It could be European bands that have made it big in the British pop charts.
Yes, that could work, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so European bands that you would have heard of, in other words.
Well, exactly.
Okay.
Hocus Pocus by Focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Focus by Focus, configuring that. Okay.
Right, now then, I've got some...
And also that would work because it's Glastonbury week and it's
of course
a musical feel, so that would be a good idea. Right, but what you might also have failed to notice that it is, of course, smack bang in the middle of the summer.
Of course.
Smack bang in the middle of the year.
Solstice.
Summer solstice. It kind of kicked off Monday, still kind of going on. We're going to talk to a man who knows an awful lot about it because I was keen to find out what we can learn, from the summer solstice, and from the things that we're seeing around us, including the strawberry moon. So we're going to talk now to Race McCready, religious scholar and ovate in the order of bards, ovates and druids. Race, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Thank you for having me on.
Now, the first question we both asked, because we weren't familiar with the term, is what exactly is an ovate?
The ovates were one of the 3 traditional classes of the druids in a lot of the Celtic countries. So while the bards focused mostly on the transmission of the lore and knowledge through poetry and storytelling, and the druids proper focused on issues of legal decision-making and political leadership, the ovates were both the healers and the seers. So if you wanted some divination done or your arm set, you needed to go to an ovate.
Okay, that's interesting. And does that mean, Race, that you are sun worshippers then? If you're getting bigly, involved in a big time in the solstice, which is the longest day, isn't it? Are you sun worshippers?
I'd hesitate to speak for druids as a whole quite that way.
Yeah.
Modern druidry is extremely diverse. There's kind of an assumption a lot of the time that druids are always necessarily pagans. While there are a lot of pagan druids, orders like the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids also have Christian druids and Jewish druids and Buddhist druids. Many of them wouldn't see themselves as sun worshippers, but the sun is certainly very important in the symbolism of our ritual and of our storytelling.
Sure, but I mean, what I'm saying is, if the group of people now celebrating at Stonehenge, which of course we don't really know why Stonehenge is there, but a lot of people believe it a lot to do with the interpretation of the sun and all that kind of stuff. Surely people are there to celebrate whatever they believe in, and that must have something to do with the sun because of the solstice at this time of year.
Absolutely, and in cultures the world over, the sun is a very, very important symbol of the highest, the most important, the thing that really radiates energy into people's lives, however they conceive that.
No, that's great.
As far as the summer solstice comes and goes, for a lot of people, it's kind of marked for people who are, I suppose, not in tune with what you guys are in tune with. They think of it as the longest day of the year, where we get an awful lot of light, and for some pessimists, I guess it means that the nights are actually going to start drawing in a little bit. But I mean, are there things that that we can learn from how the summer solstice plays out, if you know what I mean, in terms of what it tells us about what the rest of the year is going to be like?
Well, there's certainly things we can learn, and that pessimism is really a very important part of it, because the summer solstice is related, of course, to the winter solstice. At the winter solstice, we see everything at its nadir, everything at its ebb. It's the longest night. It's usually the coldest point, or getting close to it, and we look for that rebirth of hope. The days getting longer as the year progresses. When we come to the summer solstice, we are looking to the days getting shorter, and what we're seeing is the way in which this energy of the sun, to speak almost scientifically, the energy of the sun, pumping into the world makes this time possible when everything grows, when everything flourishes, and the sun is expending its energy to make possible the growth of our crops and everything else that supports us during this time. And in myths all over the world, you see this same theme of the sun spending itself for our benefit, which is why all over Northern Europe, we still have the tradition of bonfires at the summer solstice, especially in Scandinavia, parts of Scotland. These are still very big traditions.
Yeah.
And the bonfires were meant as a way to support the sun at this time when it was most taxed, when it was most drained, to kind of hold up the weakening sun so that it could get through this longest day.
Race, that is all very interesting, and I tell you why. Because in many religions around the world, which billions of people follow, they are actually believing in the blind faith of the chronicles that detail their religion, or they have their own interpretation of it. But what you've just said is absolute fact. The sun does provide light to the earth. The sun does provide warmth. The sun does provide the conditions upon which crops grow in fields. Why don't millions, maybe billions more of us follow that as a religion? Because we know it's there. I know it's there.
I think they do, but it gets wrapped in some elements of bardistry. It gets presented in a more poetic form. One of the stories that I really like to tell at this time of year is a story from Aztec mythology. Of how the gods had created the world 4 times, and every time one of the gods was sacrificed to become the sun. But they had to destroy it again and again because they weren't happy with the way that it turned out. And finally they were coming to make a new attempt at it and to create the world that we know. And they asked Texixcatl, who was a very powerful, very handsome, very well-regarded god, to become the sun, in order to infuse it with his power and his energy and his radiance. But for all that he was this great admired hero, when he came up to the fire he had to leap into to become it, he held back and his courage failed him. And a little god named Nanawatson, who was kind of old and crooked and bent, and nobody thought he was much good for anything, he stepped up and leapt into the fire and became the sun. And Texixcatl was so humiliated by being shown up in this way that one of the goddesses slapped him across the face with a rabbit, which was the way that you show somebody that you were disgusted with.
Seems a bit harsh.
Right.
Absolutely.
Was it a live, it's a live rabbit or a dead rabbit?
That was a live rabbit, I believe. And
really?
He left the fire after it become the moon.
Well, I don't think you...
That's why if you look at the moon still and turn your head a little bit to the right, you can see the imprint of the rabbit, which is still on it.
Oh, I see. On the face of the man in the moon, I see.
Well, I was going to ask you about the strawberry moon, because, I mean, I was saying to somebody earlier this week that, we've had red moons, we've had harvest moons, we've had blue moons, we've now got strawberry moon. I don't remember the number of different descriptions of moons when I was kind of growing up. I don't know whether we've become more aware of the different kinds of moons, or is this kind of a new thing?
It's a little bit of both. Partly it's the growing popularity of certain writers like Robert Graves popularized the Celtic calendar where all the moons are associated with different kinds of trees.
Right.
His work has grown in popularity in recent years. Partly it's also just a growing awareness of different traditional cultures. In the United States, a lot of Native American tribes had different names for each of the moons, and so those have become a lot better known lately as well, which is why you get this proliferation.
On the subject of the chap who wouldn't jump into the fire, I mean, you can't necessarily, can you, condemn that I suppose it's a mythological tale, and say, well, what was he guilty of, cowardice or something like that? Because the old guy who jumped in the fire, he was useless to society, wasn't he? You know, he's the sort of guy that you leave in the forest to the wolves and all that kind of stuff. So I don't quite understand how that one inspired you.
Well, I think what the story really speaks to is this idea of how we take the moment of our strength and turn it into a benefit for others through the acceptance of our own weakening. And Nana Watson, in this sense, is a figure very much like Christ. In a very different way, the Christian story also tells how God sacrificed himself to make possible the life of the world.
Right.
In him we live and move and have our being, says Paul. In that moment when Jesus empties himself in the Christian mythology becomes that possibility. So again, we see this idea that the strength of the thing which gives life has to fade, has to empty in order to give life to others.
Yes,
that's a big lesson.
Grace, what about the sort of the modern problems of the environment and of the way that the world is changing around us, and climate's warming up and all that kind of thing? I mean, does that alter the way that that people who study these things or worship these things have kind of interpreted them over the years?
It certainly, I think, has to change our ethical imperative out of it as we come to a new understanding of our own role. For so much of history, we lived very much at the mercy of things that we don't even think of now as forces to frighten us. The darkness comes and we turn on a light, and we don't even think about what it was like to live in a world where there wasn't just a light that you could switch on. You actually had to stop working at night. And so as we've grown in our mastery over our environment, we now find ourselves in a position of power that we didn't hold before. And so in that respect, I think we need to turn the question on ourselves. From the power that we now hold, how do we empty ourselves of that power in a way that brings life to others? Where do we have to hold back and take seriously the other participants in the environment, the animals, the plants, generations that are unborn who depend on the resources? How do we take our strength and turn it into a humility that will bring them life and strength?
So is the all-weather fluctuations in any way a judgment of the God who is the sun? If there's a drought because there's been no rain, and if the sun basically, perishes the land because it's arid and dry, is that a judgment?
I wouldn't say so, but to each their own in interpreting the theology that way.
Yeah, but, no, what I'm saying is, how does the sun affect us apart from the fact that to most people it's just the weather? How does it affect you other than the weather?
Well, we have to remember that the sun stands at the basis of almost all food chains on the Earth. There are a few organisms at the bottom of the sea that live off thermal vents down there, but otherwise, 99% of the Earth's life is sustained at some point by the sun, which fuels a plant, which gets eaten by something else, which gets eaten by something else. So the energy of the sun, in a very real sense, is the energy of everything else. We just had the fireflies come out here in Minnesota last night. I haven't seen them in quite some time because the mosquito spraying tends to affect them very badly. But the fireflies are out, and you watch them flicker, and you have to realize that every spark of light in the forest that they're emitting is the light of the sun in a very real sense that has been transmuted through all of these different transformations.
Yeah, that's a difficult one for me to accept because
I think this would suit
very
you down
interesting.
the ground. I think it would. Listen, very, very kindly to join us, Race. Thank you very much
indeed. Very enlightening.
Race and Macready, have a brilliant summer solstice, as I'm sure the rest of us will as well. Glastonbury's underway. Stonehenge is going on.
Didn't ask him if he was wearing a white cloak while he was talking to us.
Well, I don't think
solstice.
he was.
No?
I think that would have been a slightly insulting question to ask.
No, it wouldn't. I think it's being rude.
I think you would suit being a sun worshipper.
Well, I am interested in it. Very interested in it. Yeah, all right. Definitely.
Now, I should tell you that Lionel Messi just scored an amazing goal.
Wow.
Free kick, which, as somebody on Twitter has described, basically could never have been stopped by anybody else.
I saw it.
And now makes him the record goal scorer for Argentina.
Yes.
Now 2-0 to Argentina. I think it's adios, America on this one.
Cry for me.
Yeah, thank you. You've already done that one. This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. So,
Yes.
so we have more or less just to clarify for everybody, so we know what we're doing, and the independent quizmasters can sort it out. There's going to be a quiz on Thursday night during the referendum special, which is a 5-hour special, by the way, if you don't know. Myself and Porky will be here until 6 a.m. Telling you everything that's happening as the results come in.
That's right.
We will do a Porky quiz that night on European bands who have made it big in Britain.
That's right. European bands have made it big in the UK pop charts.
In the UK pop
okay?
charts. All right.
It's
quite specific, isn't it?
Well, it is quite specific, but I mean, I didn't want you to bring on some band and tell me that, oh, no, that's a German band and they once played at the New Brighton Pavilion, didn't you know? You see what I mean? So they've got to made it big.
I don't come up with the questions, as you know. But I have to brief the independent quizmasters.
Got to make sure. Now,
make sure that, so as long as they've appeared in the British charts, you're happy.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Now, I need to read you a couple of tweets here.
Yeah, go on.
Hang on, my machine seems to have closed down. Wait a minute, I've opened it up again. Right, now then, we sent out a picture of those Chinese air hostesses, right?
Oh, did you? Yes, I missed that.
And Cal says, Porky, haven't you seen the antics of some mainland Chinese travellers? The things they get up to are unbelievable, like trying to open the aircraft door to have a cigarette mid-flight. This is why these women have to be trained to combat all passengers.
Because there's quite a lot of smoking still goes on in China.
Oh, a lot of it goes on.
Have you seen, by the way, that there's some kind of North Korean, South Korean thing going on?
Well, there always is.
No, but I mean tonight.
There always is.
They've said, I think North Korea supposedly have fired two not necessarily intercontinental, but ballistic missiles.
Well, they always will. Honestly, don't even worry about it.
Mid-range,
they are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, aggressive towards each other because that's the nature of that of the demographic of that part of the world.
Yeah, okay.
The geophysical, political. Now, Enzo here, another one. He says this particular manoeuvre, showing these Chinese ladies grappling with each other, is used if your hand baggage is slightly overweight. If you complain about in-house entertainment, you get a chop to the neck. I'm not
Can
sure.
I have another vodka and tonic?
No.
Chop.
Yeah, chop.
Yeah.
Now then, talking about weapons, you've been talking about North Korea, South Korea, right? I've a fantastic piece from one of my historical journals. The Romans got rid of the Scots by inventing the whistling bullet.
Oh, yes.
And this whistling bullet,
hang on, they didn't have actual guns, did they?
Eh?
They didn't have guns, the Romans.
No, they fired the whistling bullets with slings. You know, like David and Goliath.
Oh, like it, yeah. It's a catapult type thing.
Yeah, and you go, whoosh, 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 like a helicopter, and then woof, you release it.
But he had stones, didn't he?
Yeah, well, this is what these are.
Well, it's not a bullet then, is it?
They're called bullets.
Why is it a bullet?
Because they bullet-like...
No, a bullet is fired from a gun chamber, right?
No. These were...
It wasn't a bullet.
These were metal-built things that the Romans did.
Metal-built things?
Yeah, so they're like bullets. Right?
Rubbish.
They were the very first...
Rubbish.
No. You know the muskets used to fire like ball bearings?
Yeah.
What do they call them?
Yeah, ball bearings.
Were they ball bearings? No, they weren't, were they?
They did.
Okay,
They fired ball bearings, but that was out of the barrel of a gun.
Yes, I know, but this...
So they were... I mean, if you wanted to call those bullets, you could.
Yeah. The Romans...
The Russians.
I was going to say, Russians, right. The Romans called theirs bullets, and this is how it went.
Right.
What they did is, they sling bullets, right, were their secret weapon to get rid of the Scots. What you had was a hailstorm of bullets. All the Roman soldiers would stand there with their slings, rotating the slings above their heads, and then at the moment they were told by their commander to let go, they'd let go, and a hail of bullets would hit the enemy. Now, all this is being told to us by Dr. John Reid, who's the director of the Trimontium Trust, okay?
No, not the same John Reid that used to be the guy in the Labour Party.
No, and chairman of Celtic Football Club.
He was also Dr. John Reid.
He was, yeah. Anyway, Dr. Reid does not believe conventional explanations that... now, the site that they found all this evidence for, right, was right on the border. It's near Stirling, I think.
Right. Well, that's nowhere near the border.
Oh, no, hang on. It's to the north of Hadrian's Wall.
Well, that's where the border is.
And it's smack bang in the middle of a war zone, okay? Right. Now, what had happened is... Slings had been round for a millennium. That's for like 100 years. No, it's 1,000 years. 1,000 years.
Right.
And then by the time this battle...
what was it about? Did it have a name, the battle?
The battle was...
Because, of course, Hadrian's Wall famously was built by the Romans, not to stop them from invading Scotland, but to stop the Scots from invading England.
Oh, absolutely. The battle was at Burns Walk.
Okay.
And it's a picturesque hill on the Scottish borders.
Well, it couldn't have been called that then, could it?
What?
Well, it couldn't have been called that then, could it?
Why not?
Because Burns hadn't been alive yet.
No, a burn was a hollow, wasn't it?
Oh, you don't mean Robbie Burns?
No, I don't mean Robbie Burns. Burns Walk.
Well, no, Burn is a little stream.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Burnswark. Burns Walk.
Are you sure it's not been renamed Burns Walk since Burns died?
No, definitely not.
Are you absolutely sure about that?
Absolutely certain.
All right.
Now, the interesting thing is, although slings had been around for 1,000 years, even by the time of the Battle of Burns Walk, they were still incredibly effective. So a 60-gram slingshot.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not much.
Well, I'm trying to think of, say, a kilogram of sugar or something like that. Oh, look, there's a penalty.
Where's that?
Penalty in the Argentina-America game.
Okay, we can watch that in a minute when I've told you about
it's on now.
The whistling bullets.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, carry on with the whistling bullets. I'll tell you what's happening with the penalty.
The audience are much more interested in my whistling Roman bullets.
I just very much doubt it.
I think they are, I think they are. And where's this penalty taking place? Doesn't look like a penalty to me. Yeah. Looks like a kick on the edge of the area.
Yeah.
Are you going to take this back, this penalty
it's
claim?
Not a penalty at all.
It's not a penalty.
No.
What a complete oaf.
I was misinformed.
And getting him, and interrupting my my whistling bullet story.
Yeah, it's half time now.
No, it's half time.
Messi's got a beard, look.
Right, just shut up a minute, please.
Right.
Now then, a 60 kilogram, no, it wasn't kilogram, a 60 gram slingshot is released from a hand sling, and according to Dr. Reed, that is just marginally less kinetic energy. Kinetic. Than a bullet from a Magnum handgun as used by Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry?
Yeah.
What is a Magnum, a 357 Magnum?
Yeah, this is the most powerful handgun in the world. Do you feel lucky, punk?
You get 3 out of 10 on that one. I know that was when you cheated on, wasn't it?
Now, it says that if you were unlucky enough to be a Scotsman who copped for a 60-gram whistling bullet, it would take the top of your head off.
Yeah.
Now, the reason...
You might be amazed to know this, right? But I have got a recording of this whistling bullet.
Have you?
Yeah.
Where?
Would you like to hear it?
Well, I haven't told you what...
That's it.
Yeah, that could be it.
That's it.
That could be it.
That's the whistling bullet.
Is that right? Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah. Now, do you know why they were called the whistling bullet?
No, you're going to tell me, though, aren't you?
Yeah,
I'm sure we've got time for this.
No, we've got time. The Romans drilled holes in the middle of the 60-gram slingshot so that as they were travelling from the sling to their victims, all you could hear was the whistling.
Yeah.
Do you know it was the same principle?
Why didn't they make him silent?
Oh, because it was terror. The omen were terror-struck when they heard the whistling, because they thought the bullets are coming towards us.
Like the old V2 thing.
Well,
in the Second World War.
What the Germans did was, with their Stuka bombers, they actually put fins under the wings so that when the planes dived down to drop their bombs, they made the same whistling noise.
No, but I'm talking about the actual ballistic missiles that they sent over. The V2s.
It's to inflict terror.
Yeah,
it's to inflict noise is terror.
Noise. Yeah, it certainly is. And I'm certainly being terrified by your noise.
Scotsmen froze with fright when they heard the whistling because it meant the bullets were coming and taken off the top of their head.
One, the Scots didn't freeze because they didn't lose, and two, they're not bullets because they're rocks. But anyway, we can explore this more in a moment. This is TalkSport.
Fear.
This is TalkSport. We are the two Mikes. They're just showing old Messi's free kick again, but you might have missed the one replay. You might get another. What's his name? Is it Fennis Moray, the Everton player's playing as well?
Yes, he is. Yeah, the centre half.
So at least somebody from Everton's getting a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Funis Moray.
Yeah. Is he going to stay around? Do you think?
Oh, I think so.
I see that the latest rumours on Lukaku, are that he's actually going to stay at Everton.
Lukaku,
which will make you have to eat yet more humble pie.
No, not at all.
Because you've been saying for about the last 3 months.
Yeah.
That, if he doesn't want to play for Everton, he should go.
I agree.
And basically, you've been saying he should go.
Yeah, well, I agree.
But he's not going to go. He's going to stay.
But I'm talking about his attitude towards the old Everton under
well, I was telling you that.
Mr. Martinez.
I said maybe it was because of Martinez.
Well, exactly.
So now you're going to change volte-face on that as well?
No, I'm not going to change volte-face. I'm going to reappraise. And Mr. Koeman
is this the new volte-face?
What's that?
I'm going to reappraise.
No, my reappraisal may well conclude that he wants to stay, and if he wants to stay, he's very welcome, of course. He is one of the world's great strikers.
David says it's a 44 Magnum, another 357 Magnum. Will this story ever end, is the question he's asking.
It's ended.
Is that the end?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, my point about the Scots being terrified and being sort of beaten into submission is incorrect, because, I mean, clearly one of the place that the Romans did not invade was Scotland. Because they got up there and they saw the Picts.
That's right,
and they didn't fancy the fight.
No.
So they built a wall to keep them out.
I totally agree. That's what Hadrian's Wall's all about.
Because they were covered in blue woad.
Yeah, that's right. We don't want those, that ragbag, what are they called? Ragbag
Ragbag what?
Tassel-tail Army or something, wasn't it? Was it called?
I don't know.
Well, no, we don't want those ragbags coming into England. And, of course, that went on for 1,000 years until we got... My name is William Wallace.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that went on for 1,000 years. From the time the Romans left in about 400 till about 1400 when William Wallace arrived and started sorting the English out and got as far as York. Yeah. Wasn't pleasant what happened to William Wallace in the end.
Here's one from somebody who doesn't give a name. Tell that plank Porky the Scots have never been wiped out and never will. I think Porky's a pretentious person, he doesn't say that word, that needs a slap.
Yeah, that's a bit harsh. I'm not saying the Scots have been wiped out. I know they haven't been wiped out because we did a show there just before Christmas. So I know you're still there.
Well, there's your evidence.
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
Absolutely right. I'm pretty sure that was in Glasgow as well.
Yes, exactly.
So they haven't been wiped out because we did a show there. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and of course we'll be bringing you out a little podcast a little bit later on in the day. And as we said earlier, if you haven't remembered it, on Thursday night we'll be doing a big referendum special. Porky,
indeed,
here, all the way through the night, bringing you all the latest news as it comes in to the hot desking here of the election special.
That's
right.
It's
not really an election, I suppose. Referendum. Isn't it?
I hope we're going to reboot or rebuild our monitors because actually we haven't got enough to do the job properly at the moment.
Well, I mean, I wonder whether we can get this one sorted out. That's on the.
We're going to have to.
On your right.
We're going to have to.
Because these, I mean, unfortunately, because we are in sort of temporary, although very nice accommodation.
Exactly.
It's not the best.
No, we're going to have
We're
to.
We're used to having 7 internal monitors, aren't we?
Well, at least 7, 9, 11 sometimes. Depends how many we want. But
have you done that, by the way? Do you know how some people have been posting pictures on Twitter when there's 2 matches on at the same time?
Yes.
In the Euros.
Yes.
You have both on.
Yes, you can.
Have you been doing that?
Of course.
Have you?
Yeah, I can do it easily.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying whether you can do it. I just have you been doing it?
Yeah. I mean, why do you think that's unusual?
Well, I mean, not everybody has 2 TVs in the same place where you can just watch one there and one there.
Some people these days on these new smart TVs can have them both on the same TV.
Yeah, you can.
Split screen.
You can. Well, split screen or just a little kind of inserted
box. Yeah, that's right. Box watching it. Yeah,
which I think is difficult to do. I mean, you can only concentrate really on one game at a time.
Yeah, but you know when something else has happened in the other one. Listen, talking about the Euros, right? I want to bring your attention to another disgraceful situation here.
Yeah.
The French are blaming us for being responsible for the dreadful state of the pitches during many of the games in Euro 16.
Because they haven't been good, have they?
Well, a lot of them have been shocking.
Cutting up a lot.
They've been shocking. So listen to this. Turf wars erupted over the state of football pitches used in Euro 2016.
Yeah.
French groundsmen accused their British counterparts of ruining the tournament. They say that one pitch in Lille is having to be relayed already.
Yeah.
It was left in such a bad state, officials decided to spray it green with green paint before France's game against Switzerland.
Is it because of all the rain that they've had, do you think? Because, I mean, they did have terrible floods, didn't they, in France?
What they're saying is it's all Britain's fault.
Why?
This is what the French are claiming. I'm not saying that's a statement. This is a claim from the French.
Yeah.
The man who's accused of bringing ruination to French grass is Richard Hayden.
Oh, yeah.
He's a man based in Leeds. Mr. Hayden is one of the world's greatest specialists on preparing pitches, and he was asked by UEFA to look at the French ones before Euro 2016. 3 were of particular concern. They were in Lille, Nice and Marseille. The rock group AC/DC staged a concert less than a month ago on the Marseille pitch before the tournament began.
Well, AC/DC are Australian, aren't they?
What's that got to do with a band being on a pitch in France?
What?
Wouldn't matter if the group were Australian, Canadian, American.
Why are they blaming us, is what I'm saying.
No,
you said they're blaming us.
No, they're saying that the group was there and that damaged the pitch.
Yeah, but you said at the beginning of this rant...
Mr. Hayden is called in to try and repair the pitch.
Yeah, but you're saying they're blaming the Brits for the problem. It's AC/DC's fault, they're not British.
No. He was called in to repair the pitch after the concert, right?
Oh, I see, right.
So it says, Mr. Hayden ordered local groundsmen to relay the pitches with Slovakian grass. Slovakian grass, eh? Interesting.
Wow.
With Slovakian grass...
I wonder what's so special about that.
I don't know. Provided by... Perhaps it's hard wearing. Provided by...
Possibly.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, the sort of stuff that goats, chew on. Yeah. Provided by an Austrian company for an estimated €600,000.
Uh-huh.
But the result has been a fiasco.
Right.
France's players slipped and slid across the rut-ridden turf, we know all that. The pitches should be better and we're not happy, said Martin Callan, who is UEFA's tournament director.
Yeah, well, there we are. I mean, one of the things you want to make sure of, I suppose, when you're running a football tournament is that the playing surfaces are pristine and have not been interfered with in any way, shape or form. Because remember in the old Wembley, and I might have the same problem with the new Wembley, when they used to do a lot of rock concerts there, they made sure that they didn't do them before, any games were going to be played, because it does cut the pitch up.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But listen to this, the guy, Mr. Lecourt, usual French
Monsieur
whinger.
Lecourt.
Yeah, Monsieur Lecourt, the French whinger. Jean-Marc Lecourt, chairman of the French Society of Lawns, has issued a statement to say all the pitches at Euro 2016 would have been in perfect condition if only UEFA had trusted them to French groundsmen. So the whinging Mr. Lecourt goes on to say...
Right.
My compatriots are nowhere responsible for the incompetence and the sabotage of the mercenaries employed for the event. And by that he means Mr. Hayden.
Well, he means UEFA's employed them, doesn't he?
Well, yeah.
Why is he blaming UEFA?
Well, he said the television viewers watching Euro 2016 games had assumed that French gardeners were incapable of maintaining their own pitches. But the whinger... no, that's my word, the whinger.
Yes.
Mr. Lecourt added, it's not true. And we are suffering to hear that. So, ignoring the fact that Mr. Hayden from Leeds is Irish, Mr. Lecourt went on to say it had been...
It's very complicated, story.
Yeah. He says it's been a terrible mistake for UEFA to turn to British gardeners.
No.
Now we can see the limits of their competence.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really getting stuck into us.
Dear me.
Oh, dear me.
Now, I've got a couple of tweets for you. Sling bullets were first used in Athens in the 4th century with winged thunderbolts on one side and the words, take that, engraved on the other.
Oh, really?
According to a tweet here.
Yeah, was that take that written in ancient Greek or English?
Yeah, I don't know if it was take that
before
Robbie Williams left.
I was going to say, do you think that's where the group got the inspiration
Maybe
for their
that's
name
where
from?
they got it from. And here's one from Si. So what goes on in Porky's head, MG? Don't worry about North Korea letting off a ballistic missile. Let me tell you about a weapon the Romans used.
Yes, that's right. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And Steve says the cricket was hilarious earlier when Sri Lankan players started celebrating, not realising England could still tie the game.
Oh, really? Yeah, but that was hilarious.
I must say I haven't been paying much attention to the cricket.
Yes,
I mean, England Sri Lanka doesn't exactly like your fire, does it?
No, it doesn't. And by the way, it's all very well to say, oh, I was dismissive about North Korea, South Korea. It goes on all the time.
Yeah.
It goes on 24 hours a day. Don't worry.
Yeah.
They're always, trying to provoke each other into starting the next war, but it won't happen.
Yeah. How about this one from Scott's Graham in Bath? He said, Porky is correct about the TVs. Roberto Martinez had 11 TVs to keep abreast of all the matches whilst Everton manager.
Really?
Why would he do that?
I don't know.
And it didn't work for him anyway.
Certainly
Plus,
didn't
there
work.
can only be 10 games at a time, can't they, in the Premier League?
Well, not only that.
Why would he have 11?
Not only that, you'd have to have a special relationship with the broadcasters, Sky and BT, for them to supply you with live feeds of the games. Yeah. Because that's not normal, is it?
How about this one from Alex? Please tell old MG to stop giving out the USA score updates as I'm recording it and planning to watch it when I get home.
Yeah, well,
it's 2-0, Alex.
There you go.
45 minutes gone.
Yeah, there
if
you
anybody
go.
else scores, I'll let you know.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, who listens to a live radio show and begs the people not to tell them what the updates are on the football?
Well, the other thing is, I cannot watch recorded live football. My brother-in-law, he's a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
If he misses a game, I'm going to record it and come and watch it.
Even if he knows the result?
Well, you're bound to know the blinking results, and it's...
I think if you can manage not to, and everybody knows about the Likely Lads and that great episode when they were trying to avoid it. Yeah. But it's much more difficult now. You have to stay off Twitter. You have to stay off Facebook.
Exactly.
You'd have to literally make sure you're at a railway station, you don't look at any screens or
anything.
anything.
Don't talk to your mates, for hours on end.
I think as long as you don't know.
Eh?
I think as long as you don't know.
Well,
I mean, have you never gone back, for example, to watch a game that you know was a classic game of one kind or another for some reason you never saw at the time?
Well, games I did see at the time I've watched again. For instance, I have a recording of the 1966 FA Cup final, Everton versus Sheffield Wednesday, and I watch it a lot because we were 2-0 down and won 3-2.
Okay.
It was a classic game.
So in other words, you do watch games that have been previously recorded.
Yeah, but for historical value, not because I want to see them as an entertainment. I mean, for instance, I've got a copy on DVD of the 1966 World Cup final, and I like watching that occasionally when it's late at night and that sort of thing.
Because somebody posted a picture of Kelly Summers. Today. You remember Kelly Summers?
Kelly is the lovely lady who is head... Well, she's not head of, she's part of the video team at Bournemouth.
Well, she's head of press down there, I think.
Yeah, but she's a Watford fan.
Yeah, well, never mind giving that away. But, I mean, there's somebody put a picture of her smiling and said, no wonder she's smiling. Porky can't make the Everton game on September the 24th.
What?
Because, remember, we said this the other night.
Yes.
That we're going to be in Whitley Bay doing a show.
Oh, no, we're not, are we?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
No.
Yeah, we did. We had this conversation.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, no. So
because we can't...
won't be there.
I think for the Chelsea game at Chelsea, Everton-Chelsea, which I'd normally go to, and join my mate in the nightclub called Under the Stand.
Yes, I know.
Or something like that. We're in Liverpool.
Isn't it Under the Bridge?
Under the Bridge, thank you.
Because it's called Stamford Bridge.
That's right,
That's why they call it. It's not called Stamford Stand.
No, it's not. And we're in Liverpool, so I'm going to miss that one. So we're going to miss the Bournemouth game.
Well, we had this conversation. You said you couldn't get two more distant places in Britain than Whitley Bay and Bournemouth.
Oh, my God.
So what I'm going to say to you is, could you not record that and watch it when you get back home.
No, definitely not, because it'll be on Match of the Day anyway, so I'll watch the highlights.
Well, you're going to be watching Match of the Day on Saturday night after one of our shows.
No, I'll record Match of the Day, you idiot, not the
so
live
you don't mind
game. How do you know the game's going to be live anyway?
I don't.
No, well, you're
I don't
talking
even know what
nonsense.
time it is. But how do you know that you can... so you don't mind watching recorded highlights?
No.
You don't want to watch them recorded live?
No, of course not.
Very strange.
Well, no, it's not strange. To watch 90 minutes of a game when you know the result, you only want to see the goals and the major incidents. You don't want to see the whole game.
Is that right?
Well, if you do, you're a weirdo.
Weirdo.
And you could be a weirdo.
Oh, okay.
What do you think about Colonel Tim coming back to Earth?
I'm bored of Colonel Tim.
Well, I'm a bit, because all his limbs are all floppy.
What?
All his limbs are floppy.
All right.
He's got no muscle.
We're going to do listography coming up in a minute. This is Talk Sport. Still 2-0.
The Two Mics. Simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Breaking news on Talk Sport.
This is a special message for Alex, who sent us another tweet saying he doesn't listen to us for our sporting wisdom. #Planks. It's 3-0 to Argentina, which is quite funny.
Well, no, if you've got the heritage that a club like Everton have, then believe me, it's worth maintaining it. What's your problem?
Dave, I'm just reading some of these tweets here. David says, someone's been smoking Slovakian grass. I don't watch recorded games. I own recorded games.
I what? Own? Oh, well, I do. I own my copy of the 66 Cup final, yeah. So what's wrong with that?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Here's one from Steve. Is Porky suffering from dementia? This Everton against Bournemouth fixture was discussed on Saturday.
Was it?
Or maybe on Sunday at the warm-up.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it's probably Sunday, yeah. No, I didn't quite appreciate that we're going to miss it.
Yeah.
That's a damn nuisance, I tell you.
Matthew says, Dad's not seen a game in real time for years. In World Cup 2010, wore earplugs to avoid hearing England fans cheering from a nearby pub.
Who was that?
His dad, I presume. Matthew's dad.
Oh, well, sorry about that, mate. Perhaps your dad got better things to do, you know.
Yeah. Phil says, why don't you just get a helicopter from Whitley Bay to Bournemouth?
Well,
if it's in the afternoon, you have to do it the other way around, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course you would, yeah. Mind you, it could be on a Sunday, and if it's on a Sunday, we can get back for it.
That's possible.
Yeah, it's definitely
possible.
possible.
I'm not going from Whitley Bay to Bournemouth to watch Everton play. You're joking.
Well, it's easy. You could fly from Newcastle to Southampton.
No, I've got better things to do.
We could do that. We could genuinely do that.
It. Yeah, no, you could do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, well, you say that, but we'll see.
No, we won't see. I will not be going from Whitley Bay to Bournemouth in a helicopter with you.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
I didn't say helicopter. I said an aeroplane, fixed wing.
Yeah, well, I won't go with a fixed wing or any other kind of wing.
When you fly in a helicopter too far, you can get sick. I flew once. We chartered a helicopter once from Battersea to Cheltenham.
Yes,
that's a hell of a long way because we'd normally only done it to Epsom, which is just like a few minutes, literally. You can, when the chopper comes up on the Battersea heliport, when it reaches sort of cruising height, you can already see the flags on the top of the stand at Epsom.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's how sort of
Pretty
close it is. Yeah,
right.
In Surrey.
Probably take you longer to get from here to the heliport.
It did.
Than it would to get from the heliport
to Epsom.
It
did, to be honest. But then when we flew one time to Cheltenham, it went on and on, and the machine rattles, and you start smelling fumes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, it's actually not that pleasant experience, a long helicopter trip. It was about an hour.
Well, they're not that comfortable, are they?
No, they're not really, no. And they're noisy, and you can't communicate with people and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you have the headset on, don't you?
Yeah, of course you do, yeah. But, I mean, it's still, you're shouting over the noise of the rotor and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's not luxurious at all.
No.
Right, now, we have to set up like a listography, because it's already coming into the last sort of half hour almost of the old
Right, okay, we've got
show.
some suggestions.
We've got one here, 3 pieces of advice you would give to a young person enabling success to start their working career. That's a kind of a cross between Ask Porky and listography, but we could do it.
Yeah.
The 3 best bloopers on air that you have ever made. Only 3, Porky, says the person suggesting it. 3 times you much like a maverick cop broke the rules to get the job done in your life. Nah, that might be a bit too difficult to own up to.
Yes.
Tonight it's for top 3 UK holiday destinations. We've done holiday places, I think, without being in the UK, haven't we?
We've done best hotels, so it's a bit similar to that one, I think.
3 rules to the highway code, or driving in particular.
Yeah, I quite like the first one. What was the first one again?
The first one was, I don't know, my machine is frozen. 3 pieces of advice you would give to a young person enabling success. Isn't that a bit too much like Ask Porky?
Yes, I think it is, yeah. Okay.
3 invitations to events you didn't want to go to but had to.
Okay.
That's quite good.
Yeah, that's quite good. Yeah, I like that.
3 invitations to events you didn't want to go to but had to. Okay, we'll do that one.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Excellent plan.
Now then, are you a big fan of sushi?
Sushi, not particularly, no.
Right, it's expanding massively in this country. Oh, the other thing I was going to tell you is this. I was in a town in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey, only yesterday, And
well, that's where you live.
Yeah,
not very surprising, really.
Yeah, well, it was in the town I lived in, actually. And
branching out.
Yeah, and a coffee shop was opening.
By the way, actually, sorry to interrupt you. Have you seen what's going on with the Southern? You've been banging on about the Southern Rail disaster that's been going on.
Yeah.
And there was a strike again yesterday.
Well, it's not a strike; it's a work to rule.
No, but there was a specific strike yesterday. Right. It's all about, apparently, as I watched this on the local news.
Right.
It's all about the company introducing drivers only trains, basically, so no conductor anymore. So the drivers are going to be in control of opening and closing the door. And I saw the woman that I think you've referred to in the past.
Oh, yes.
As saying, we're not making anybody redundant, but what we are doing is giving a better service to the customers.
Yeah.
Well, how can you do that by removing the guy that closes the doors?
Well, you see, I find this a mystery because when I commute into London from Stockbroker Belt, occasionally the train slows down and the guy says, good afternoon, everybody. Your driver's speaking here. Sorry, we're stopping at a red light. It'll only be a few minutes, and we'll be on our way.
Yeah.
I don't see conductors on these trains anymore.
Right.
So
they've already started phasing them out. Apparently in August, they're going to do away with them altogether.
Well, I've never seen a conductor on a train.
Really?
You don't see a guy walking around checking tickets. Well, you do see ticket inspectors. They get on at random stations, stay for a couple of stops, check the tickets, and then get off again. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
But I don't see a permanent conductor on the train. It's always the driver who, by the way, I've found the drivers to be extremely helpful and informed. I'm really sorry. I mean, I was on a train the other day. It was a fast train into Victoria, and the guy said, "I'm terribly sorry, but we have now been put behind a slow-moving train which has got 2 stations stop for Victoria. I booked the route or whatever. They knew we were a fast train, but they've let us down. So I'm really sorry about that," and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I never hear a conductor talking. It's always the driver. So I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah.
All I know is whoever's running Southern Rail UK is inconveniencing the passengers to a huge degree.
But do you know
that's not in your charter.
But what's also going on is that the unions, I think, have smelled a rat here, and what they're doing is trying to make the commute so impossible for people.
Yes.
They'll have the franchise taken away. I think that's what's going on.
Well, what they're doing is, because my inside man at Southern Rail UK told me, it's not a strike. They haven't called it an official strike, because to have a strike you have to ballot the workforce. It is an enforced work to rule on safety regulation status and basis and all that.
Anyway, I interrupted your story about where you went recently.
No, the coffee shop, right?
Yeah.
So I'm walking down this high street in, I would say, a commuter town in Stockbroker Belt.
Yes.
And there's a shop being renovated. I thought, I wonder what that's going to be. And then I see it is a coffee chain shop.
Right.
It is the fourth within 100 yards.
We've
I'm not
talked about this
joking.
before, haven't we?
The fourth within 100 yards.
Yeah.
So you've got Caffè Nero.
Yeah.
You've got Costa.
Yeah.
You've got, go on, name another one.
Starbucks.
And...
Pret.
Sorry?
Pret.
No, not Pret, but there's a fourth one. There are 4 distinctly coffee shops, and I'm thinking, this doesn't add up. People in Britain don't drink this much coffee.
They do, obviously.
Well, they don't.
Because that's why all of these places are opening up.
No, a load of posers go and sit in coffee shops, and try to pretend that they're sophisticated.
No, they don't. They just like to go to a place where they don't have to have a drink.
No.
Like an alcoholic drink.
No normal people.
And a lot of people go to work there.
No normal people drink coffee in coffee shops. However, I'm extremely grateful.
I do sometimes.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Rubbish.
It's not rubbish.
I am extremely grateful for the fact that it seems to me that the growth of coffee shops, which will blow up, it's a bubble that'll burst, has at least taken the boring coffee merchants out of the pubs. Pubs should be serving drinks and coffee shops for serving coffee. And when I'm stuck behind some bloke who's ordered 4, cappuccinos in a pub, and there's only one member of staff behind the bar who's operating a machine that has silver handles, levers of power and all that, bursting out steam and all that, and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? It drives me completely mad. But anyway, listen.
That'd be a good job for somebody who was used to the levers of power. They'd be used to that. Just making coffee.
Well, what you do is you put 2 hands in front of you and then you wind the levers up and down, don't you? The levers of power. Yeah. like you say, could be somebody who's at a loose end might like a job like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now then,
I've got a great statistic here for you, actually, which is completely separate and not about coffee at all, but it's been sent in by Becky.
Okay.
Story in New Zealand.
Right.
Apparently, women who have quite a lot of underwear only wear 2 of their bras.
That's right.
At only one time.
That's right.
Well, not only one time, but just generally.
In the whole,
all they wear is the same bras.
In the whole underwear drawer, I read this report, but I didn't bring it up out of taste and decency. Yeah, it says that if a woman's got 15 bras, she only ever uses 2 because they're the 2 that are most comfortable, and she might use them for years, literally.
She says very true, and she says Porky buying his Conquest lingerie was obviously a bad idea.
Well, no, I also, got my information correct before I went on that mission. You know what I mean? Oh, yes, definitely.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I knew exactly what I was doing.
Did you?
That's all I can say.
It's unusual for you.
That's very nice. Now then, sushi. The UK's love of sushi...
Why go from brass to sushi?
What?
I thought you were talking about coffee.
Yeah, I asked you about sushi because, believe it or not, that's another massive expansion. A chain of...
How many sushi shops have they got in this high street?
Well, they're going to have more because there's a chain called Wasabi.
Wasabi, yep.
Right.
I know it well.
It has 45 outlets at the moment, but it's been spending money opening restaurants with 7 more added in the past year, and it's going to get more and more and more.
Bit of a raw deal for some of the other shopkeepers.
Raw deal, I like that. But you see, I don't think people in this country, A, drink coffee, and B, eat sushi. So I just don't understand it.
I think you're mixing with the wrong people.
No,
because clearly the two biggest growth industries in Britain are sushi shops and coffee shops.
Waste of time,
Get
man.
with the programme. Gets to help everybody out who ask for a bit of advice. It sometimes can be personal, sometimes can be professional, sometimes can be just about something you've always wanted to know the answer to. Now, we're going to kick off with some football-related ones. So if I can ask you as ever to be as succinct as possible and helpful as possible. Here's one from Stephen. He says, "Hi, Porky. I put a bet on England to win the Euros. Do you think I should have put my money on what he regards as your home country, Wales?"
No, I don't. My home country is not Wales, it's England. I had high hopes for England, and I don't begrudge anybody putting money on their home country as an emotional thing. You don't necessarily, when you put a bet on, have to say, I'm doing this as an investment. You have to do it because you want to feel part of what your country are doing. So it's exciting, A, to see them being successful. It's even more exciting if you think you're going to win a few bob at the end of it. Wales won't win the Euros, so if you were going to bet on Wales, you should have bet that they would get through the group stages, and maybe they might have got to the semi-finals, and that would have been a great bet for you. Same sort of bet for England.
OK, All Terrain says, I'm struggling for motivation to work from home. And what do you suggest?
I don't like working from home. Working from home is really, really hard.
You said you had an office there.
Of course I've got an office there, but that's not working from home. They're talking about working in their dining room. They're talking about working in their kitchen. You know, a lot of people these days have sort of kitchens where you've got a breakfast bar and that sort of stuff, and you put your laptop open and you start working from there. You cannot work and concentrate and get into business mode when all you can smell is the toast from the morning's breakfast, when all you can hear is the rattle of the boiler, when all your...
How is your boiler, by the way? I'll ask you that all the time.
When all you're really listening to are the birds chirping merrily outside the kitchen window and that sort of thing. The problem is that what even psychologists don't understand is that the workplace is where you spend most of your life. You spend most of your life in 2 places: bed, sleeping, and the workplace where you work. And in between you spend some time in your own domestic situation like your lounge.
Horizontal refreshment.
Horizontal refreshment, extremely important part of life, at certain stages of your life, obviously. And all I would say is that working at home is incredibly difficult because you have to self-motivate. And self-motivation is the hardest thing a human being can do. You need to be able to rub against other working colleagues to stimulate you and help you...
I don't think that's allowed anymore.
And help you to feel a part of an organisation.
OK. Here's one from Mark, who's put this on Facebook. He says, Dear Porky, I plan to go travelling across Europe on my motorbike in a couple of weeks' time. I'm not too good with the foreign lingo, but as you're a man who is so worldly wise, what tips can you give me on the best way to communicate with the locals, especially when searching for extreme bladderation and Rogerisation?
I'd be extremely careful, because when you go into foreign countries and start trying it on with the local women, you're likely to get your head beaten in. And that can be a problem, particularly if you're riding a motorbike, because you do need to have a clear-thinking head if you're riding around on a motorbike. We have a colleague here at TalkSport who goes riding his motorbike around the whole of Europe and southern Europe and everywhere else. Extremely experienced, but he goes with mates of his. They don't go seeking bladderisation and Rogerisation. They do it for the culture of the bikers that they are. And that's how they lap it up. A, I wouldn't go on your own, and B, if you did, you've got to be incredibly careful that you don't impinge upon local customs. And one local custom which infuriates everybody, and this first happened in Spain when the package holiday was put together, is nicking the local girls. Honestly, it's not good.
So you're going to tell them to stay away.
Yes.
Here's one from John. He says, I got my dad a jumper for Father's Day. It's a bit tight. Should I change it for a bigger size? It's a couple of hours' drive away.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, I can't advise you on what your relationship with your father is, but if you buy somebody a jumper and it's not the right size, it's absolutely pointless in calling it a present, because it's useless. It's a piece of junk. You might as well give it to your dog and make your dog wear it, because if your father can't wear it, what's he going to do? Is he going to say, oh, thank you very much indeed? Of course you've got to get the present right, and you shouldn't even need to ask about how you rectify the mistake of buying a present that's not suitable for the person to whom you're giving it.
OK. Here's another football-related one from Philip on Facebook. Dear Porky, if you were England manager and MG was your assistant coach, what would your managerial style be? And would it be the full suit or a Tony Pulis-esque tracksuit?
No, I would have the full suit. You've got to look smart as a football manager in order to gain respect. A guy who always looks smart on the touchline is Mark Hughes. A guy who, in my view, always looks the scruffiest individual I've ever seen is Martin O'Neill, who wears a tracksuit.
You got it in for him again?
No, I haven't got it in for him, but he
doesn't always wear a tracksuit.
He always wears a tracksuit, and he pushes his sleeves right up to his elbows. Yep. He ties...
I've seen him in a suit on the side.
I've never seen him in a suit. He ties like a lace around the bottom of his tracksuit bottoms, and he wears, training shoes or boots or something like that, and I think that it looks bad. I mean, Cloughy got it right in between. He would wear tracksuit bottoms and just, like a sweat top, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he looked OK. But if I was a manager, I would definitely go down the Mark Hughes route and wear a smartest suit I could possibly find.
OK, Stuart says this. I'm Porkmeister. My partner was asked whether I'd have a vasectomy, to which my reply was sod that. So she suggested sterilisation. What do you suggest, Porky? I don't want to appear selfish. I just don't want to keep wincing whenever I see a pair of pliers.
I had a friend who had a vasectomy when I was in the newspaper business in my early years, and the problem was when he woke up in hospital after the vasectomy, nobody had told him. He needed desperately to go to the loo, so he threw the sheets back and then threw his right leg out of bed, but nobody had told him they'd actually stitched the top of his right leg thigh to his testicular bag.
Yeah.
And the resulting pain and agony was something to behold.
I bet.
So I'd say be careful.
Now, I'm surprised this one hasn't come up before, but it's from Chris, who says, hey, Mike, who gave you the nickname Porky? When and why?
I don't know, to be honest, but it emerged in the years that I was working on The Breakfast Show with Monsieur Brazil. Did that for 5 years, so it could have been any time during that sort of period. It has stuck ever since, and I've not railed against it because I realise it's a very affectionate term from people who feel, who think a lot of me.
Absolutely right. Now, here's one from Carl. Porky, as a former boxing champion yourself, what advice would you give to Anthony Joshua in his first heavyweight title defence this weekend?
Win.
That's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about this from Chris, who says, I'm struggling to attract any birds into my bath. Any suggestions?
Into your bath?
Yeah. Well, I do mean bird bath.
Yeah, you mean your bird bath. Well, I'm having a trouble with that. Not one single bird has yet landed on the Porky bird bath, except for big, horrible, ugly pigeons, and I have to go out and shoo them away. But I don't know whether they frightened off the little birds. I wanted to land on the rim and dip forward and drink the water, but it ain't happening, and I'm getting rather worried that my bird bath is going to be a flop.
Right. Pierre says, Dear Porky, when do you sleep? How many hours do you get? You always seem to be awake at all hours God sends, doing something or other. Great energy for someone with only 1/3 of their heart working.
Well, only 1/3 of my heart works, so you've got to make the most of life. The thing is, I do believe in nos and dorma. I reckon I probably need about 4 or 5 hours sleep a day.
Yes.
And no more. Now, for instance, I have a long working schedule tonight and probably won't get home till about 9:30 tomorrow morning, because I do the papers on The Breakfast Show with Al, and then the route home is then tortuous because it's sort of rush hour and all that kind of stuff. And as I'm in the car, I stop off and get things sorted. Get home about 9:30. I would likely, if I want to lie down, if I do at all, because sometimes you've gone past the point of needing sleep, I might have a couple of hours, but I'll be up and around again by about 11:30 or 12 and working on other things.
OK. Here's one from Jonathan, who says, Porky, have you ever considered getting a piercing anywhere on your temple of a body, or are they with tattoos on the disgusting list?
No, they're with tattoos on the disgusting list. One time I went to California and stayed with a long-standing friend who happened to be a lady. We'd never been boyfriend, girlfriend, anything, but she was a colleague and she worked out there. She said, come and stay. She had a boyfriend and they lived together. He was a photographer, and we all went out one night and we had a great night. It went on till 6 or 7 in the morning. We actually saw the sunrise on Sunset Boulevard, as in the song. Just wanna see the sun come up on Santa Monica Boulevard. But he disappeared for a couple of hours, came back and had a nipple ring attached. at a tattooist place.
She did?
No, he did.
Oh, he did?
He did, her boyfriend.
Oh, right.
And it was ridiculous and ludicrous and, after being roundly mocked, had it removed within hours.
Here's one from Scottish Bull who says, Hi, Porky, what should I do when my girlfriend's attractive mother comes on to me next time I'm at her house?
Well, there is a philosophy to this. If it's a long-standing girlfriend, you have to repel her, right? Because obviously that's going to cause problems in the future if you're going to get married to the girl and you've had a fling with your mother-in-law. However, if your girlfriend's only a short-term girlfriend...
Well, she's not really your mother-in-law at that point, is she?
No, she's not, but she will be if you get married.
Yeah.
However, if your girlfriend is a short-term girlfriend and her mother is attractive, I see no problem in going ahead with, chancing your arm, so to speak, particularly if the mother is very attractive. Because it could be within weeks your relationship with the lady of your age...
Well, you can't expect it to remain a secret, can you?
Well, it would have to remain a secret, definitely.
Well, then how do you trust the mother, though?
Well, her mother's not going to tell her daughter, oh, by the way, I've been having some horizontal refreshment with your ex-boyfriend or your current boyfriend, because that would cause a huge rift between the mother and daughter. But I have in the past, actually, had a bit of a kind of fling with a former girlfriend's mother, on the basis of, I'm so sorry to hear you've broken up and all that. Yeah.
Well, you have?
Yes. And
shocking.
And I saw nothing wrong with it.
Really?
No.
Okay, here's one from PC. I have a very nice Pierre Cardin shirt that I bought from a high street sporting goods shop that shan't be named. It came with a huge mug too, but after the abuse old MG has given you about yours, I can't bring myself to wear it. Yeah. What should I do with it? Donate it to a local charity shop or just wear it for my coach driving job?
No, if I were you, pal, do you know what I'd do? I'd use it as an oily rag to clean the engine of your car, because people like you are despicable who go around listening to the drivel and nonsense that MG spouts out. I've never had a big Sports Direct mug, and my Pierre Cardin shirt came from the Pierre Cardin shop. Got it, pal?
Okay. Paul wants to thank you. He says, thanks for the advice last week, Ray, my 10th anniversary. I took your thoughts to heart and have gone to Florence for the week. Mrs H likes your style and we'll be seeing you both in Liverpool in November. Not particularly a question, but just something that somebody wanted to say thank you for.
Okay.
Finally, Daniel
Perhaps I could answer that question by reminding people that we're at the O2 Arena, is it, in Liverpool?
O2 Academy, yeah.
O2 Academy in November the 4th, is it?
November the 4th.
Yeah, that's the day before November the 5th. There'll be fireworks.
No, there will be, absolutely right. Daniel says, my mate insists on doing impressions at the pub, but the truth is they are awful. Shall I risk telling him and hurting his feelings, or just put up with it and laugh politely? After all, he never hangs around long anyway.
Yeah, well, if it doesn't hang around long anyway... I mean, look, you can get incensed with people and say, do you know what, your impressions are pathetic. If you don't give them up, you can push off and I don't want to drink with you anymore. But it depends on the relationship your friend is like. Might be a nice guy, he might be a jerk, and if he's a jerk and he feels unsure of himself in company, he might do these pathetic impressions to try and impress women in the pub, so he thinks he can get off for a bit of Rogerisation with them later. Right. But he's on a losing wicket, and you should tell him so.
Now, this one is slightly concerned with something that I put out on Twitter a little bit earlier on. This is from Stephen.
Right.
Because I bought a new pepper mill. I meant to tell you about this. I don't know if you saw my picture of the new pepper mill.
Christ,
but I learned something.
You lead a very exciting life.
I do, yeah. And one of the things I learned when I bought it from the kitchen appliance shop that I bought it from was that when I was describing how my old pepper mill had broken, she said, well, do you know that you should only ever really move the pepper mill in one direction?
Right.
So that if you do like that
if you screw it left and right,
that ruins the mechanism.
Right.
So Stephen, who was on Twitter at the time, I said to him, he said, well, should it be clockwise or anti-clockwise? I said, always clockwise. He said, however, his wife, or he's left-handed and his wife is right-handed. It could be a dilemma, and he wanted to ask you, what do you think? I mean, should you only ever move it in one direction? Or if you're left-handed, is it permissible to move it in the other direction, as long as it's only in that one direction?
If I've got a wooden pepper mill, I always move it left and right.
Yeah,
so
well, that'll ruin it.
Well, you say I've never had one that's been ruined. I mean, I've changed them over the years.
Maybe you don't use that much pepper.
I do. I use a lot of pepper. I like ground pepper. Yeah. What I use these days, by the way, is an electric one where you pick them up. They're made of see-through plastic, and you press a button, and they're brilliant. Yeah. Much better than the old.
So that doesn't involve that thing then?
That doesn't involve that thing at all. So I'd get an electric one, mate, where you press a button.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that'll have to be Ask Porky.
Yeah. Okay. Another success. Another success.
How much? You give yourself 3 out of 10?
No, give myself 8 out of 10 there.
8 out of 10 for that one. Still 3-0, Argentina against the USA, 78 minutes gone. This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
They tried to make me go to rehab. I said Try to make me go to rehab. I won't go. I'd rather be.
This is TalkSport. We are the two Mikes. Show's nearly over already. I don't know where it's rushed off to, but we're going to do listography, and of course that record is sort of, I would say, suggesting that you might have been asked to go somewhere where you didn't want to go, but you had to go. It could be work-related, I suppose. I don't know if you've got 3 ready. You can do your first one if you wish. Or I can go first if you want.
Yeah, you go first.
I'll go first, right. Well, first one is a wedding I was invited to.
Right.
It was shortly after I'd arrived in Glasgow to be the boss of the Mirror up there. And one of the guys on the staff was getting married.
Yes.
And so I thought, well, the best thing to do to get to know everybody, as he invited me, was to go along to this wedding.
Yeah.
And you know what some weddings are like. You know,
sure.
Some of them are great,
Sure.
some are not so great.
Sure.
This was one of the not so great ones.
Right.
You basically got one glass of some really disgustingly sickly, horrible punch.
Yeah.
And you were then led to a table where I sat with a lot of the people that I was then the boss of.
Yeah, sure.
And I ordered a couple of bottles of wine, only to discover that I was the only one buying any wine.
Yeah.
And when that wine ran out, nobody bought any more.
Yeah.
But more bizarrely than that,
I
had to sit through all these speeches and everything else. When they had the sort of receiving line, I went up to meet the groom's father, who was standing in the receiving line.
Yes.
And as I got closer to him, I realised he was quite bald.
Yeah.
He had a huge kind of sort of wound on the top of his head.
Like somebody put an axe in his head.
Well, that's exactly what had happened.
Oh, really?
And apparently...
I guessed.
Well, this was Glasgow, right? Apparently, like about 4 days earlier, some guy had attacked him in the street with an axe. And he had this
happens in parts of Glasgow.
Yeah, and this massive, axe mark down the top of his head.
Good God.
And I just thought... I really don't want to be here. And I was there with the mother of my children, and we made a relatively hasty escape.
God.
So it was very odd, very bizarre. But didn't really want to go.
Although you've described that you didn't want to go, I mean, did you know in advance it was going to be that bad?
No.
No, that's what I mean.
No, I had no idea.
So you didn't know you didn't want to go, did you?
I didn't really want to go because I think it was literally my first weekend in Scotland.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I didn't really
want to
do
go
that.
to a worker's wedding.
But because it was kind of work-related, I thought it would not be the best start to my sort of... boss scenario if I just said no.
Okay,
so
fine,
I said yes.
Fine, okay.
What's yours then?
My first one was a guy at the time was my best mate. It was his wedding.
Yeah.
We'd known each other
Also
10
a
years.
wedding,
his wedding. And I'd known him 10 years since the University of the Trent.
Oh, yeah.
He went through the whole procedure and became an estate agent and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and
so he finished the course, did he?
He finished the course, and I moved into the world of journalism. And the reason I didn't want to go was because he didn't nominate me as his best man.
No.
He nominated somebody he'd met since he left Trent.
Well, that could happen.
And worked down in Kent and was a working partner down there. And I felt absolutely...
betrayed
and put out of place, but not because I wasn't nominated as best man, sort of it's an important job, because I knew I could do the job much better than the bloke who did it, because the bloke who did it, when he gave the speech, was stuttering, nervous, he was incapable of throwing his voice, he was appalling, and I didn't want to go in the first place because I wanted to be best man and organise things. Having gone and seeing the pathetic performance from the guy who did it, made me even more certain I shouldn't have gone. And in fact, we then actually disassociated ourselves.
Oh dear! Did
shortly
you
afterwards.
fall out then?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Oh dear!
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
All
right.
And what's your second one?
My second one actually was when I was forced to go to a 25th high school reunion.
Oh yes.
Not of my own.
Yes.
But of my ex-wife.
Oh,
we
okay.
were married at the time.
Okay.
And 25 years on. It's quite a sort of good period of time, you know.
Yes,
and it was up in a place called in Danbury, Connecticut, not far from there.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've described it in the past as well. It's just like one of these places where people just sort of show off.
That's right, yeah.
And what I didn't realise was that I was kind of being shown off as well, because we were living in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I was quite a successful sort of foreign correspondent.
Yes.
Problem was I had a really bad cold.
Right.
And I really didn't want to be there.
Right.
And so I sat grumpily in the corner the whole night, drinking Jack Daniels.
Right.
And just kind of growling at people.
Yes.
And so I wasn't, I didn't do myself any favours really for to the woman who had taken me.
Yeah.
But also I found everybody there incredibly boring.
Right.
And almost all of them were still living in the same place where they hadn't been to school.
Yeah, well, that can happen, yeah.
Wished I hadn't gone.
I don't blame you. My second one is any funeral now.
Any funeral?
I hate funerals. I just can't stand funerals. I
Do
mean,
you get invited to funerals, though?
Well, for instance, I told you about my mate who was on the Queen Victoria when it docked at Venice, and he was dead in his cabin, and and his brother, and he was from Great Sutton on the Wirral, and his brother rang me up, who I hadn't seen for 20 years, and said, have you heard about, no, obviously you haven't heard, I need to tell you about Colin. So I desperately wanted to go to the funeral because he was my long-standing mate. I'd known him since I was sort of 16, you know what I mean? And I wanted to pay my respect, but I just could not bring myself to go to the funeral of a mate who I'd known for so long who died. Well,
that's supposed to be about places you've been and you didn't want to go. It's not supposed to be about places you didn't go.
No, I didn't. I didn't want to go to his funeral, so I didn't go.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
the listography is about places you went to that you didn't want to.
Well, if you want to replace that, then
I'll just tell it's 4-0 now to Argentina. By the way,
another goal by Higuain. It's nearly the same thing.
Sorry, Alex.
Funny enough, it's about a boat as well. I got off the QE2, and in Manhattan, at Pier 85 or whatever it is,
something like that. Yeah.
And hired a car, and I was driving up to Connecticut to see Doreen, who was our mate. Ivor's wife.
That's right.
And Doreen had been a very, very good friend ever since I started in America in like the early 80s. She'd been like a mother figure, and she was married to Ivor, and Ivor became a great mate as well. And then I heard that she had cancer.
Yeah.
And so the next time I was going to America was on the QE2. And I said, I'd love to come and see you. And she said, well, don't, because I'm not very well and all that. But I drove up, and it was the most poignant thing I've ever done, because I drove up there and I parked in the driveway, and it was one of those typical American houses with decking at the back and what you call the insect door, the outer door. You know what I mean?
The porch door.
The porch door and that kind of stuff. And I went into the kitchen, knew the house very well, been there dozens of times, stayed there.
Used to be Dudley's house, didn't it?
Used to be Dudley Freeman's house, that's right, yeah. And I shouted, hello, hello. And anyway, Ivor had gone out and taken the dogs for a walk, and Doreen was sitting on the couch on her own, and she was half the size of the last time I saw her. And her hair dropped out, and it was so poignant seeing a woman and you know what Doreen was like. She was vivacious. When she was a younger woman, she was a model. She was a fashion model, and she used to walk up and down catwalks and that kind of. They used to call them runway models in America. Right. And I didn't want to go because I didn't want to see her in that state. And again, once I'd left her, and I was in tears, to be honest, coming back home. It was the last time I ever saw her, and I wish I hadn't gone.
Yeah.
Not because I didn't want to say goodbye to her, because I wanted to remember her as I'd seen her before.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fascinating story, that one.
Yeah.
My final one is the Bolshoi Ballet. I got an invite to go with some PR company in New York when I was there.
Right.
Kennedy Center.
Yes.
And it was the biggest, hottest ticket in town.
Yes, sure, yeah.
Because the Russians were around, and, and they were doing Ivor the Terrible. And I went with a few other people. But I had to leave at half time because it was just horrendous.
Why?
Not because I'm not a massive ballet fan, which I'm not.
Yeah.
But I just found everything that was being done was just kind of wrong. There was a lot of foot tapping going on. You could hear all the footsteps on the stage, and I thought the music wasn't loud enough. I wanted the music to be loud enough, and it was very nice music and all that.
Yeah.
But it was all very, very sort of, I don't know. It was just. It was all a bit like. It seemed to me loads of people were there because they thought they should be, as opposed to then sitting there enjoying it. Yes. They were all sitting in silence, like you do. So I said I was nipping out at half time for a drink.
Right.
And I didn't go back.
And a cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go back.
Didn't go back.
No.
Well, that's I'm not sure if that's good behaviour.
I didn't see the second half, and it became known ever since after that as Ivan the Terrible. 4 letter word, which obviously I can't say on the radio.
We mustn't have that, please. It's a family show.
I know.
Well, I suppose my last one is... blimey, it's not much time, is it?
No, you've got about 20 seconds.
Right, my last one was the last time I went to see Dr. Banner. I put it off twice because I'd put a bit of weight on, and I didn't want to go and see Dr. Banner and him tell me, actually, you're in terrible shape, and you've got to give up everything altogether. You've got to lose another 2 stone, and we're going to have to operate. I was terrified.
I didn't think they were still touring.
But my heart hadn't deteriorated to any significant extent whatsoever.
Yeah.
He warned me the weight was going to be a problem and the heart would deteriorate if you didn't lose the weight, so I'm trying to do that now. But I really feared 2 things. Firstly, I was going to be told there's something wrong. But secondly, that I'd let Dr. Banner down. Yeah. He'd saved my life, 12 years ago. I didn't want him to think that I'd lost interest in maintaining the very high standards of behaviour which had kept me alive.
Of course. So, as he said, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Fascinating listography, that one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed to whoever it was that suggested it. We'll do another one tomorrow.
Indeed.
This is Talk Sport.
You and I are not the same. This is
is TalkSport. We are the Two Mikes. There will be, of course, a podcast coming out a little bit later on. Porky Vision tonight, of course.
Yes.
You know, it's the Game of Thrones sort of finale.
Well, there's a fantastic battle or something going on.
Some kind of massive battle.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, you've never really watched it properly, have you?
No.
Because I think a lot of people would like to have your take on it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to, suggest what you should do.
No, but I can tell you this. I read some reviews of the battle, and one review I saw said it is the greatest ever televised TV battle.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably right.
Yeah.
I've got a text here from somebody who says, can't believe Porky is encouraging some Rogerisation with the mother-in-law. He has no morals at all.
Well, no, it's not with the mother-in-law. It's, what is it? It's with an older woman, I suppose.
All right.
Very
D says this. He rolls his shirt up to his elbows, he wears trainers, blah, blah. Porky's Martin O'Neill obsession makes an appearance in Ask Porky.
Yeah.
And Jerry says, that's why Argentina are the best in the world. They hustle for 90 minutes even when they're leading 3-0.
Well,
like Roy's boys.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely.
Somebody has tweeted a picture of Martin O'Neill wearing a suit on the touchline, so occasionally he does.
It's very rare. It's very rare.
Yeah.
More normally, his get-up, his garb, his uniform as a football manager is the old tracksuit.
Yes,
without doubt.
Indeed. Now we're right out of time, which is extraordinary, really.
Yeah.
We're also out of time in the United States against Argentina. Final result there for Alex, who's listening keenly. United States 0, Argentina 4. Lavezzi, Messi and Higuain with 2 goals of his own as well. So they'll be advancing Copa America. More Euro action tomorrow. We are out of time. This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mikes.
Look at the light!
Don't forget to follow the Two Mikes at the Two Mikes on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mikes TV.
They're grappling them, strangling them, putting their faces down in water. I'm going to put this picture out.
Yeah, I think you should.
And the next time I fly to Shanghai, I'm going to go on British Airways, because if I go on Air China and get bladderated, before you know it, you'd get the old ha, hoo, ha, yeah, ho, bang, ooh, bang, and you're down. I'm not saying the Scots have been wiped out. I know they haven't been wiped out because we did a show there just before Christmas.
If you love the Two Mikes podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
Life's tough, but it's tougher when you're very stupid.